Fun fact, I'll actually be seeing Bill Kazmaier in person on Saturday.
How?
Wow.
He is the commentator for the World's Strongest Man tour, and they are coming to Glasgow on Saturday night. And
No way.
myself, Lara, and her dad, we've got sort of like VIP silver tickets, so we get to do a meet and greet with like all the competitors, plus Bill and Colin Bryce.
You can ask about the time he wrestled Oz at Halloween.
I will.
I want you to kind of, like, at some point, just gotta go, stand aside, lads, I'll deal with this, and just lift up something really heavy. Or keep trying to, and failing until security drags you out.
Yes. An anvil or something there, surely you can just hike over your shoulder.
Absolutely. Oh, see, this is fake.
See this?
Hang on, I'll just try to pick it up again. Hang on. It's definitely fake.
Young Bill Kazmaier has an inflatable globe.
Oh, God.
Getting dragged out. Listen to the Conquistabores! Listen to the Conquistabores!
Just do a don't stop oil only for the Conquistadores.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fine.
Welcome to the Conquistabores. Tonight on the Conquistabores, the most terrifying wrestling podcast of them all, the Conquistabores enter the Chamber of Horrors as they go to face Halloween Havoc 1991. Saying, I'll be right back. Tonight is the computerized man of the 90s, Phil Doyle. The total package, Euan Taylor. The enforcer, Cameron Phillips. And spooky hot sauce, Geordie and Milburn. Whoa! Only tonight on the Conquistabores.
If you see a friend of the podcast, Lance Storm, there, it just, because it was he who I was comparing donuts with.
That's right, yes.
I'm still sure that's slang for something. I really am sure.
No, it's not. It's bloody donuts.
Hey, lads, check out my donut.
There's the cold open.
Deary me. Check out Phil's donut.
Wait, how come like a story about you comparing it with a wrestler now swung back onto me? How does that work?
You're the one that just degenerated into filth.
Degeneration Phil, there's a t-shirt.
Degeneration Phil.
It's just a picture of Vince McMahon on the front of it at the end, yeah.
Oh, Christ.
With the moustache.
Yes, with his bizarre moustache.
The full Errol Flynn. Has he still got it?
Yes, I think he does.
Oh, yeah, definitely. But, we won't see him because he's buggering off. He's not in creative anymore. So, sadly, we won't have, LA Knight doing maximum male models or anything like that, anytime soon. So, he'll actually be doing something decent.
Well, I mean, jobbing to Roman Reigns, is that really decent?
Well, we'll see.
He's not going to win, let's be fair.
Well, probably not, but at least, he's getting more than he was a year ago when he was like Maxi Dupree or whatever the fuck it was. And
yes.
At least
that is true.
What really drives me nuts about the whole LA Knight thing is you've got all these people just kind of going, is just like ripping off Stone Cold and The Rock. You're like going, right, Stone Cold hasn't wrestled in a full-time capacity for like 20 years now.
20 years.
And The Rock probably hasn't wrestled in a full-time capacity for what?
20 years?
It was 2014 Rumble when he beat
part-time. It was only part-time, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was only part-time then. So I'm like kind of going, so there's probably fans like, obviously there's probably fans now that have no fucking idea who Stone Cold and The Rock really were in their heyday. So therefore, fine. It'd be a different thing altogether if The Rock and Stone Cold were still an active part of WWE's roster and he's doing all that stuff and all this kind of jazz.
If he came up called himself like Stone Cold Rock Knight or something, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that would be like, okay, that's a bit of a rip. But
are we trying to say that Rock Hard Just Robinson's ripping off The Rock at this point then?
With his roll of quarters, that is slightly suspect.
That was an interesting storyline this week.
Knuckle.
Just a bit.
Oh, just if we're going to talk about like current wrestling for a second, I'm just gonna. I don't like talking for the people, but I'm going to do it in this point, and you can't stop me. But I just want to give the Conquistable seal of approval officially to Christian Cage for his work over the last couple of months. It has been, in a way, to quote one of my son's favorite episodes of Doctor Who, it has been spectacular. Like was it the Nick Wayne promo when he walked off and at the end just went, "Say hi to your mum," and just went off.
Yeah.
Expert.
Basically, it's been 2 months of your dad is dead.
Yeah, your dad's dead. Where's your mum? It's like,
yep.
Because like people like when he was doing that to Jungle Boy, they were like, "Oh God, that's a bit stiff from old Christian coming in on that." But the fact that he turned that into his gimmick to have a go at your dead dad or your dead relative and then crack on to your mum, it's like
it's an ultimate creepy bastard
with a polo neck and wrestling in a polo neck as well. Just to cap off, like how we have like some promos just become kind of like timeless, like they just become like known for something. Like there's the the Hard Times promo by Dusty Rhodes, or there's the the pipe bomb by CM Punk, and then there's like Mark Henry's retirement promo, that kind of stuff. And now to rank alongside that, we've got Christian Cage's "Go Fuck Yourself" promo.
Go fuck yourself.
Oh, that was amazing.
They are missing a trick with Christian's t-shirts, though. Well, regarding the fact, any wrestler with a dead dad, he's trying to move in with, moving on their mum. You'd think he would have a t-shirt now that just said "The Widow Shaker."
Oh, that's good. I like it.
That's good.
Which would, I think, well, come on.
No, I love it. Like as soon as they announced, it's going to be Christian versus Daniel Bryan for the TNT title, everyone's like, you know what he's going to say. You know exactly what he's going to say. First promo, Bryan Danielson. Where's your dad?
The fun you could have though, you could bring Kurt Henning's kid, who was in NXT for a while. Bring him in.
Oh yeah,
he was in the Macho Man with Damien Mizdow in a tag team match. They were the Mega Powers, weren't they?
He might have been. I can't remember now.
He was. What was his name in?
He was on Curtis Axel.
Curtis Axel. That's the one.
That was it. Because he had the whole thing about Axel Mania, didn't he? Because he never got eliminated from the Royal Rumble.
Never got eliminated. That's this to be true.
Well, I can't remember what year it was, but he never actually got eliminated.
Doesn't matter.
Then Damien Sandow started to out-impression him, so they formed the Mega Powers.
Oh, that's right.
And then Hulk Hogan came out as a massive racist, and it ruined their gimmick.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, but it was okay to use those words, Phil, because everyone in the business when he was coming into it used those words.
It was a glorious 7 weeks until Hulk Hogan ruined it, like he does most things.
Yeah,
and now he's married again for the 4th time.
Well, she'll be obviously after his retirement pot.
Okay, we're all waiting. I was
wondering when that was going to go.
I was trying to come up with he's going to die and he's going to be gold digging, that kind of thing. Yeah. That was it.
I was keeping an eye. I was like ready to write a note down for the edit. Then I was getting really close. Timestamp that. Get that deleted.
Yeah, and obviously the Grizzled Young veterans are now free of WWE and cut quite an amazing video promo on Sunday. I think that dropped.
I have heard about this, but I have not yet seen it.
It is amazing. They've made their first appearance. They were in a Deadlock Pro against the Workhorsemen, and apparently it was great.
Yeah, well, it is great. Yeah, because James Drake and Zach Gibson are fucking incredible.
They're cracking.
So and also having met them and bought a t-shirt off them, really fucking nice guys.
Is that story again?
Yep. Just I'll just put it in there whenever I get a chance. I'll just put it in there. They're really nice guys.
Yeah,
amazing.
I was looking to see who's actually announced for Impact in Glasgow. I know Grado is because, well, it's Glasgow.
It's Glasgow, isn't it? Aren't they like, if he's in Scotland, they're kind of legally obliged to have him on the card?
It does feel that way sometimes.
I think it's like they have to have Grado, otherwise no one gets a visa. I think that's the deal, isn't it?
I think so.
I mean, fair enough.
There's some really big Grado fan at like the Visa central office going, no, is Grado on the card? Right, you're in. Stamp.
Yep. It's like we
need Phoenix. Apart from Ray Phoenix, he can't go anywhere, can he?
Well, no. Apparently not. Well, he can go home.
Are we acknowledging the fact that this is going to be recorded in 2 halves over 2 nights?
No, well, not until the very end.
It's the first 2-night Conquistador.
Wow, we're on par with WrestleMania now. Only will probably better.
Yes, we'll get to Al's pre-recorded cinematic match later on.
Oh, Jesus. So
the Geordie Firefly Funhouse match.
Jesus Christ.
The Geordie Funhouse match.
Is that not just like the inside of Newcastle Stadium on an average Saturday?
Probably, yeah. It'll be great, yeah.
Just ignore the blood money. It's fine.
There we go. I was waiting for a comment about that. An accurate comment. Let's be fair to us, but fair to it.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. Because this was my pick, wasn't it, this week?
This is your fault.
And because because it's the spookiest. I can't do the whole podcast in that voice.
Stop it.
Sorry. The spookiest time of the year. That's it. I'll stop now. I picked Halloween Havoc 1991.
Why?
Because it's Halloween, and I thought let's just pick one of them.
So you picked this one, which contains probably one of the most ridiculous matches ever conceived.
Although weirdly, it's not the most ridiculous thing on the show, which I'll raise at some point. There's something on the show which is even more ridiculous than the Chamber of Horrors match. But
I have many comments about the Chamber of Horrors match, but we'll get to that in a minute.
So we're going back. I'm going to do maths in my head now. Almost exactly 32 years to October 27th, 1991.
Yep.
In the UTC Arena in Chattanooga, Tennessee, in front of
banjos at the ready.
In front of an obscene attendance of 8,900 for the Halloween
There's no
Havoc.
way there's 8,900 people in this building.
There's no way.
If it was today, there'd be loads of people online having schmarmy comments about how the upper decks are empty and all that kind of stuff.
Those people can just go outside and touch grass.
Yeah.
I'd like to point out the tagline for the show was an evening of terrifying destruction.
Well, they got one bit of that right.
Definitely terrifying.
Absolutely.
So this is, October 91. So we're about 6 months down the line or so from the last WCW we did. Which one was it? I've got it in my notes. It's in my old notes. It was Starcade? No, Battle Brawl. Not Battle Brawl.
Battle Brawl, yeah.
Fist Punch.
Fist Punch, yes.
91.
Also, this is the third Halloween Havoc, but this is actually the first show to be held after WCW split from the NWA at the start of 1991.
That is true. Super Brawl 1, that's the one we did.
There we go.
Super Brawl 1. So that was that was May. We're in October, so about 5 months down the line. So obviously, the main thing I would say, the difference between then and now, is that one Ric Flair is no longer with the company.
Oh, he's somewhere else at the moment.
Yes, I don't know if he's debuted yet, obviously. My knowledge of that Ric Flair that time isn't as encyclopedic as some people who want on the show. Would he have debuted? Because I feel like it was like right towards the end of the year. Was it like kind of Survivor Series time?
So, Phil, I don't know if you noticed this on the same page I has. I went to Wikipedia and I wanted to get an idea of what this event was like. Mm-hmm. So I got the following description from Wikipedia. The event featured wrestlers from pre-existing scripted feuds and storylines. Wrestlers portrayed villains, heroes, or less distinguishable characters in the scripted events that built tension and culminated in a wrestling match or series of matches. Now, did Vince McMahon write that sentence or not?
That definitely seems like the kind of least emotional way to describe a wrestling match. It's like we'll just suck all the joy out of that completely. But let's be too fair, it's not wrong. You can't argue. There definitely were wrestling matches on this card. You can't argue with that at all.
Mm-hmm.
I just double-checked. Flair debuted in September 21st. So about a month before this was when he kind of first popped up on WWF television.
All right, okay.
So
not too far off then.
Not too far away. So obviously, it's a bit of a, I would say, even though Flair wasn't necessarily in the most highest position with the company at the time, obviously I think there's well-known issues with him and is it Jim Herd? Was that the
Jim Herd? Yes.
They didn't see him as still being a big star. Like for that company, he's still a big star. So him kind of walking out and going to another company, obviously, I'm taking their belt with him when he goes is obviously a bit of a big deal. So I would say this is a bit of a rebuilding period for WCW to try and kind of get past that to kind of rebuild old stars to build new stars.
And as we'll discover throughout the show, there are varying levels of success.
Very levels of success. One thing I would say is successful is the intro video to the pay-per-view.
I love this. So it's an animated haunted house, and you've got wrestlers rising from the grave, which, considering in 2023, a good 75% of the people shown are likely dead.
It's like, gone, soon, gone.
Soon. No.
But it's just like, you get like black and white floating heads of the wrestlers just kind of like spookily appearing every now and then. And what it reminded me of was, remember the Christmas special of Father Ted?
Yes.
When Ted's walking down the beach and he starts thinking about all the mean things people said to him, the heads are kind of floating around him. It was like that, because it was Rick Steiner just kind of popped up with a confused look on his face.
Yep, and then you had
I was like, you're Dougal! Why are you being Dougal?
He had El Gigante's goofy smile because clearly he didn't know what to do.
I gotta say, he looked really young in that picture. I don't know where they got it from.
I don't know.
He just looked like he was like child El Gigante, which I guess would be medium El Gigante.
As we'll get to, he certainly didn't move like somebody who was young and spry.
He did not at all. So that's like it's a strong opening. You can't argue with that.
Oh yeah, totally. It's a strong opening.
The arena, bit of promo, and we got our sign of a decent WCW pay-per-view. In that there's only one ring.
Only one ring and
tick.
Shit pyro.
Tick tick. That's in the plus column for that. And we get introduced to our booth for the night, which is one JR Jim Ross without a cowboy hat, and Tony Schiavone.
Yes, who has gone through puberty by this point.
Has he though?
Well, compared to what we saw him before.
I mean, that is true. Now, what I'm thinking here is was this him just returning to the company? Because obviously he had a little fee over at WWF, didn't he?
That still blows my mind that I didn't realise he was there, but that's because it was literally for like 6 months or something like that.
I think it was 1990 he came back. So he's been back a while, actually.
All right, okay.
April 89 to April 90.
I think he got a year then.
Yeah. Although I think what I read, I think he's kind of like looked back and kind of realised like he probably should have stayed. Because I think he enjoyed not necessarily enjoyed it, but like the machine there was obviously better than it was WCW. And I think it was his family couldn't settle up north. That was, I think, the issue.
Yes, that was the big thing, because obviously WCW are very much southern, which we'll get to varying points throughout the show.
There's a brief bit of chat about a WCW Halloween Phantom, which put me right on edge, because I was like, oh no, it's going to be like the fake Sting, isn't it? Or the fake, was it the Black Scorpion, whatever it was called?
Black Scorpion.
Here we go.
Or it's going to be Booker T in whiteface or something like that. Something terrible.
But then, thankfully, we bypassed that and we're off to the car park with Eric Bischoff.
I love this segment. It's basically just Eric Bischoff gets owned by a cavalcade of people.
And like, so he's waiting outside to kind of like, basically, I think the valet stand waiting for the rest to turn up in their cars, and he nearly gets taken out by Cactus Jack first of all, who like,
that's it, and
reaches up behind him.
And then Abdullah, clearly on the wellness medicine, just gets out the car and looks blankly.
The butcher just kind of gets out, and he's got something in his hand, like it's like a staff.
I thought it was a fork, but it didn't look like a fork. It looked
like
a staff, yeah.
It was weird. I've just written down like...
Wizard Abdullah makes his appearance.
I've just put big question marks. What has Abdullah the Butcher got? Because it makes, like, I don't know what it is. It's just a thing.
Yeah.
I'm like, so clearly someone's going to get stabbed with it at some point during the show. But
of course. They leave and the Diamond Mobile comes in with DDP and the Diamond Stud.
The DDP's hired himself a nice car for the night there, hasn't he? He's making sure he's living the gimmick there, that one.
He gets out, just calls Eric Bischoff a jabroni, basically, and the Diamond Stud just gets out, and Scott Hall
doesn't even acknowledge him.
And then Barry Windham and Dustin Rhodes appear in a reasonable
nice
car, nothing extravagant. Those bastards, Arn Anderson and Larry Zbyszko, are having none of it and proceed to attack the duo.
They just kind of rode up as like, I think, is it like Eric Bischoff's just trying to interview Windham as he gets out of the car, and they just appear out of nowhere and just slam his arm in the door of the car.
Slam his arm in the door and then just run off like the bastards that they are.
It looked really good.
It did, yeah.
Slamming someone's arm in the door, it's like, ooh. It's like, okay, we're starting strong with like someone having their arm literally broken in an assault. Like that's a crime. That is like an actual crime what they've done there. Just to point that out. We'll get to having questionable things live on pay-per-view. Read murder, but we'll get to that in a second. Get to that very shortly, because surprisingly, I thought you would build to this, but then thinking about it, it makes sense where they got it. We start off with the Chambers of Horrors match.
Fans, our first event will be the
first contest of Halloween Havoc from Chattanooga, Tennessee is the Chamber of Horrors. This special attraction will involve 2 teams, each team consisting of 4 team members. The match will be confined to the Chamber of Horrors, which is equipped with several instruments of torture. The object of the match is to put a member of the opposing team in the Chamber of Horrors chair of torture, and then to pull the fatal lever, which will render one of the teammates helpless. And now...
Yes, which is the team of Abdullah the Butcher, the Diamond Stud, Cactus Jack, and Big Van Vader against the team of Sting, El Gigante, and the Steiner Brothers.
No promo for this. No build up of what's actually going on. We're just
no. You don't need that, Phil.
Putting them straight into this massive cage.
I mean, Gary Michael Competitor, our ring announcer, makes it very clear that the ring is full of, quote, instruments of torture, and, quote, the winner will put one of their opponents in the Chamber of Horrors chair of torture, which is wordy, and then pull the fatal lever that will leave their opponent helpless.
Yeah, I love that. The way it builds up is like the Chamber of Horrors with the instruments of torture and the chair of torture. And when you pull the fatal lever, they will be helpless.
Yes, it's I just wrote down live murder and pay-per-view, folks. Welcome to WCW.
It's like they got to that part of writing out the promo for him. It's like, okay, let's do this, and it will kill them. Wait a second.
No,
we can't actually kill somebody live on air, can we?
No,
can we
leave them helpless?
Can we kill them?
No. I mean, Abdullah probably tried during this match.
I think he did a few times.
But that's just because he's Abdullah.
Yeah, because the intros is weird because it's like they introduce one guy, then the other guy, don't they? So it's like, I think El Gigante comes out first, and then Vader comes out.
Oh, no. Phil. No, it's not just Vader. It's Vader and his steam-blowing helmet.
It's full-on Vader with mask.
Straight out of New Japan. That made me happy.
Yeah. Like, you see, oh God, it's El Gigante. Here we go. With his flipping mask, this is amazing. Oh God, it's like, it's somebody else. Oh God, Cactus Jack with a chainsaw.
Do you think that was a gimmick chainsaw? Because I don't think it was.
The way it was busting out kind of smoke and stuff when it came out, I'm pretty sure that was an actual chainsaw. Which I think is why not too long after, Rick Steiner gets hold of it and you see the refs going, no, Rick, put that down, put it down, put it down.
Not today, Rick.
Come on, put it down.
Put it down.
Put it down.
It's not worth it.
But then, did you see, they cut to a wide shot and the cage, it's not the kind of typical WWE cage.
Right.
It's not a cell.
Going to get to that.
It's not like a chicken wire thing.
It's almost like a battle dome.
Yeah, it's kind of thingy over the top, isn't it? So you can't kind of climb out. But then when Vader hits it at the beginning, the thing ripples.
God, I thought it was going to fall apart.
It ripples. Yeah. I've never seen a cage do that. It's like it's a hanging sheet sort of thing. It's really weird.
Well, to me, it looked like sheet metal that had been cut into shape, and clearly with the intention of nobody climbing it or nobody bumping into it, because this isn't an escape the cage match. This is a capacitate your opponent match. And then
render them helpless.
Don't forget
render them helpless.
Sorry, helpless. Yes, but don't forget that the chair of torture is not in the ring at the start. It will be lowered at an undetermined period of time.
This is right. I love this because there's what's ringside. There's a couple of coffins ringside.
Yes,
within the kind of floor area of the rings, they have to take out the kind of end of the ramp, don't they? Because it's that typical WCW rampway that goes up to the level of the ring. So there's a section of that missing. The cage around the outside, there's some coffins in there, and then there's the door around the side. Even though I'm pretty sure you could just kind of lift it up like a shower curtain and climb in that way, because it looks so weak. And that's as soon as I saw it, I was like, I really hope no one climbs up that. And literally in 2 seconds, is it Mick Foley's halfway up it or something? It's like, oh God. What are you doing, man?
Yeah,
what are you doing?
Mick Foley doing Mick Foley things. It's
really ridiculous.
Yeah, the ring is just covered in shit. That was one of my comments. So much shit in the ring, even for 1991. This is dumb.
This is dumb. I did appreciate Rick Steiner's trunk when he came out, and it's got guts, blood, and a black cat on it. It's like, oh, Rick, you really put some effort into this.
He tried, which is more than I can say for a lot of people in this match.
And then, you think, how is this going to be any more ridiculous? And then you realise, wait a second, why is the referee wearing an ice hockey helmet?
Well, Phil, that's because WCW were the kings of innovation, and they came up with the referee cap.
The referee cap.
I groaned when I heard that. I'm like, really?
It's I think they start usually. It's like well, you know, it's obviously not a GoPro. Whatever the GoPro equivalent at the time was, mounted to this poor referee. And it's like, I think the first time they cut to it, it like flickers out and starts getting really cracky. It's like, oh no, here we go, typical thing.
Yes.
But to kind of go back to the original point, there is no chair in the kind of area of the ring, is there? That's like empty. So
No.
it's like,
No.
just like an area of lads to kind of have a big fight, which is what happens when they kick off. And then
What? And then eventually the chair does get lowered, but that's not before Abdul. Sorry, I think it was one of the Steiners realizes that somebody just appears out of one of the caskets and gets absolutely pasted.
A fella comes out of a coffin with a mask on, and they kind of go, commentary kind of goes, "Oh, there's a guy in a mask. He came out of a coffin."
Oh,
and then that's
no. Tony Schiavone comes out with the following comment: "You never know what to expect in the Chamber of Horrors." This is the first time this match has ever happened, Tony.
You wouldn't expect it, would you? But then, like, for like a masked man who nobody recognizes and is never referred to, who I think spends most of the time sitting on the outside of the ring because he gets like slammed through one of the coffins.
Yes, he gets annihilated.
It's like, okay, this is just weird.
This is a thing.
And then like it cuts to, I think it's El Gigante. He's just hitting the Diamond with his chest. Like that's his attack in the corner, just hitting him with his chest over and over again. And then the chair is like you kind of atypical electric chair from a prison film. The film Shocker, let's say. Well, within another cage, it was like a shark.
Yes, within a cage because WCW.
Yeah, that gets lowered down on like through the top of the ring because there's no top to the ring into the kind of middle of the ring. Nearly squishes Mick Foley, but he rolls out the way.
Yes, Mick Foley nearly dies, who eventually does move at the final moment. And this is just after Jim Ross drops a comment regarding Vader and Tetsuya Fujinami, who'd won the Super Grade Tag League in New Japan, defeating Riki Choshu and Masa Saito a few months before. Yeah. Why Jim Ross felt the need to mention this, I'm not quite sure, but thanks for trying.
All I'll say is let's just be thankful it's not an American football comment, because that's all like stacked up later in the card, isn't it?
Equally blew that earlier on in the month.
No, he's got plenty left in his tank when it comes to football comments, so you worry about that.
Yes, we do.
Like, let's come down. Like I thought, like I think Mick's like he's not in that much danger, because I reminded me of like was it Seth Rollins was like they were bringing one of the cells down.
Yes.
And like last second he realised he was about to get speared into the side of the ring and just moved out of the way. Yeah. But then what they've done,
problematic.
What they've done is like they've taken this, like this is a kind of chaotic match anyway with lots of stuff and crap all around the ring, and they've just put like a massive thing in the middle of the ring so the wrestlers can look like they can't use the ropes anymore because there's like a big thing in the middle of the ring.
Oh no, they're gone.
There's like space for about maybe two people stood side to side on the outside of this thing around the outside. Like there's not that huge amounts because the WCW ring's a smaller ring anyway, isn't it? It's not like it's the big, like the 20-foot ring that WWF ones are.
Yes, the WCW used an 18 ring, I think, which was a big reason why a lot of people that jumped from one to the other really sort of struggled at first because they were trying to adjust themselves to.
I think Rey Mysterio said that, didn't like? It's like an extra footstep when you're trying to do all your moves, which is you got to get used to. But they just kind of like taking that amount of space you've got in this ring and just like taking out like 2/3 of it because there's now like this big cage in the ring that you can't really do any kind of things on because it's a big seat in a big cage.
No, I mean, the match comes down to people getting put in the chair, then reversing it. But then, eventually, after what feels like an eternity, Rick Steiner gets Abdullah the Butcher on the chair, and Mick Foley's already climbing the cell to go to the lever of doom, and he thinks it's the Steiner in the chair. He throws the switch, but it's actually Abdullah. Abdullah is murdered live on television. Now,
Rick does like a belly to belly, doesn't he? Just kind of flips around in the chair. And Mick's like, I'm still trying to pull this switch.
I would not recommend doing that to Abdullah the Butcher. You're probably going to blow every single one of your ribs out. I'd
like to point out, like, previous to this match, like, the switch keeps flicking between on and off. they show it, and it's like it's showing it like it's on. And then at one point, you see a referee climbing upside of the outside of the cage to put it back off again. Yeah. So they can turn it on at the ending. And it's like, this is a big cluster. This is like... My
sort of closing comment was, what a fucking disaster of a spectacle this was.
It's such a bizarre thing. Although, like, I think one of my highlights was, like, I think Sting's having a bit of a thing outside with Cactus because I think they were feuding around this time. And he gets the coffin lid and just kind of, like, throws it up into the air onto Cactus's head. And it just makes, like, a bonk noise when it hits him.
And, oh, my God! He just dropped that heavy top of the...
Oh, bonk! Just lays him out. We haven't mentioned the ghouls outside either, have we?
Oh, God, yeah. So these ghouls just appear on the ramp at one point, and there seems to be about 174 of them.
Yeah,
there's
and they're
quite
all
a lot
dressed
of them.
in like kind of white, medical orderly gear with like white faces, which is
Yeah.
what makes them go with it. I think they're carrying a stretcher.
Yes,
but there's so many of them. It's like they're clearly waiting for someone big to go in that chair. They know what's going on here. They know it's going to be a big fella, which is, as you say, Abdullah the Butcher gets.
Yep.
Well, we think he gets murdered. He just gets rendered helpless.
Oh, of course, because I mean, the head bit of the chair is not even touching Abdullah's head when he's supposedly made helpless.
Like electrics can jump, like arc onto his head. Because that's you can't argue. You can't argue with the pyro that goes off and the lights flicker. Come on.
But no, it is absolutely ridiculous. I now see where TNA got the idea for their electrified steel cage match, that one infamous time with LAX and the Dudleys.
You'll of course know that the Impact ran their Slaughterhouse pay-per-view yesterday as we record.
That was MLW, but try again.
Sorry. And they ran the Chamber of Horrors match.
They did.
And they also had someone tie in an electric chair in the ring.
Yes. Yeah.
But I
can't remember who it was, but I know Mance Warner's team won.
But what I wanted to know was like how they solved the chair problem. And they had it in the corner of the ring. Without a cage on
I think it was in Fight
chair.
Plus, so I'll do some research and let you know.
It was like, they seem to kind of make it a bit, so then have it off to one side so you can still use like the rest of the ring. If that makes sense?
Yeah. So they don't just like you say, handicap everyone in the ring by putting this giant
you have to kind of like
device
wander around this ring in the middle. And it's like
it's beyond stupid. But yeah, Abdullah with being made helpless and all, he's helpless for all of about 30 seconds. He then comes to, realizes what the fuck happened here and proceeds to just assault everyone that's in his way.
I would point out that everybody else has just left. Like Diamond Stud's gone. Vader.
Oh yeah, everyone's done. They're out of here. They know this is bullshit.
Cactus is the only one who's showing any kind of concern for his tag team partner who's like died in the ring.
This was placed first, so as not they wouldn't lose any pay-per-view time. Apparently,
yeah.
Also, I had a moment doing this of going, "Oh my god, there's a lot of talent that's been wasted in this absolutely dire match." I went, "Sting is a WWE Hall of Famer," and then I had a moment of going, "Wait a minute, the Steiners are WWE Hall of Famers. Abdullah the Butcher is a WWE Hall of Famer." And Cactus Jack and Diamond Stud, Scott Hall, and Vader. The only person in this match that isn't a WWE Hall of Famer is El Gigante.
Well, I think there's reasons for that. Let's be fair.
Matter of time.
Who, bless him, doesn't even get a from when his intro. Have you noticed that when Gary Capetta goes, it goes, El Gigante, Argentina. And you're like, it doesn't even get a from Argentina. No one cares, it seems. No one cares.
He's just representing Argentina not very well.
Representing the concept of Argentina, not so much the country. Originally, One Man Gang and Oz were supposed to be in this as well. This was supposed to be a 10-man.
Holy shit. I would pay good money to watch Oz in this match.
Yeah, there's barely enough room for 8 of them. They were supposed to be 10.
So with that random guy who kind of appears out of a coffin, that would have been like an 11-person match then?
In typical WCW fashion, there's also a very lingering camera shot, as I'm sure you've covered in my absence just now, of the lever of the electric chair being firmly switched to the on position right at the start of the match.
Yeah.
This camera shot goes on for literally 10 seconds, and Jim Ross and Tony Schiavone are desperately trying to justify it. And yes, Abdul the Butcher dies and then is resurrected again.
But did anybody notice, like, when Abby comes out, I think Euan said he goes mental attacking folks. But one person he attacks is the guy who's just trying to get the ramp back into position.
That is a heavy shot and all.
Hits him right in the face.
He's not messing about.
I was genuinely like, fucking hell, he failed. I can understand him attacking, like, the ghouls that way. Because they've obviously...
Sorry, I can't believe I just said that out loud.
The attendees.
I can understand them attacking the ghouls. That makes complete sense. But the poor ring guy...
Yeah, he properly welts that guy in the forehead with his boot. Like, it is nasty.
God bless the guy. He no sells it and is still like trying to get the ramp back in for the next match.
It's just like, what the hell was that all about?
So rude.
I think he was just in the wrong place at the wrong time, and he just got waffled, unfortunately. But he still, fair play to him. The guy still carried on with his job and dropped a bit of the ramp into place. But that's probably because he was concussed.
I think like that kind of quick tidy up, I think, again, speaks to why it was first. Because it's like, if you have this match last, it just ruins the whole kind of flow of the card. If you're not going to have, like, obviously this doesn't seem to be like a war game scenario where it's like a finale to a feud. It's just like, let's just chuck a load of guys into a thing called the Chamber of Horrors because it's Halloween or something. I don't know.
Putting this match last would have been the equivalent of ending a pay-per-view with a Punjabi prison match.
Listen,
Don't put
my
it
boy
past him.
Randy has suffered over the years. Don't keep knocking him, all right? He got through that as best he
Did he?
No one could. No one could have rescued
No
that
one
thing.
could do that. No, not really.
So yeah, so like we're like Halloween's done basically, isn't it? We're kind of done with Halloween now.
Well, no. Halloween's not done yet because we then cut to Dracula and
That
a
is
Vegas
true.
whore.
That well-known Halloween outfit.
Oh no. Oh dear.
We cut to Eric Bischoff doing a very terrible Dracula impersonation and Missy Hyatt just being there.
Is it they're trying to find out who the Halloween Phantom is? Because I think that thread kind of goes through a little bit, not very much, but there's like, oh, who's the Halloween Phantom? I'm like, and thing came up, I was like, oh no, it's going to be another Black Scorpion.
I thought that as well. I think they seem to be fucking obsessed with people, disguising themselves in WCW at this era. But I will say, when we get to the Halloween Phantom, either in this record or tomorrow night, it's kind of good for what it becomes.
It almost pays off. It almost does.
Is that grading on a curve, or do you actually believe it was somewhat good?
I am looking at who the Halloween Phantom is in this show in relation to what that group became.
Okay.
It's the start of the... Yeah.
We'll come to it. And then the Smoking Guns turn up.
Young Pistols.
I know.
Pistols turn up in just like absolute dicks.
They are a bit dicks,
it's a waffling promo that I didn't actually kind of take in anything. They're just they're kind of going, lad, then we do that in the ring, and then we do this. You don't come here, run your mouth out. And then that's about it. And then they walk off.
Yeah, JR does. Is it JR? I'll tell you, but either of them just kind of goes, oh, Jesus, they were a bit rude, weren't they? Poof.
Yeah, a little bit.
Bikes.
I don't know if this was meant to be like them like turning heel or them just being very, very cocky, but to me this came over like a very much a heel promo, which I don't think was the intention.
You can't wear that much glitter and be heels, you know what I mean? You got to think about it.
We cut from backstage back to our next match, which is Big Josh and PN News against the Creatures. Creature 1 and Creature 2.
Why do they keep doing this?
I can summarize this entire match in my notes. I haven't actually written who the hell wins this because I didn't really care. I was like,
okay.
PN News is terrible at rapping, but does throw seemingly quite a good drop kick.
He does.
This means nothing. The Acclaim to do it far better.
Well, first of all, the Creatures do have amazing music, amazingly terrible music.
Oh, it's absolute shit-tastic.
Creature 1 was a wrestler called Joey Maggs.
Oh, yeah.
No clue. Creature 2 has no Wikipedia page, so who knows?
Joey Sags.
Joey Sags and Joey Maggs together at last.
Yeah, exactly. In perfect harmony. Yeah.
But this is like...
Sure.
Whenever I see Big Josh, right, we've seen him a few times now, haven't we? I kind of like in my head had that kind of the Evil Doink and Bret Hart match, which was cracking, and like you see like a little bit of like his kind of skill in this match. Well, how good like Josh probably is, but it's like it's all just kind of buried under this not very good gimmick. And then like
coupled with animal abuse,
and then like with kind of rubbish matches, and like he does do. I think at one point he does what looks to be like a pretty sweet powerbomb, but they cut to the crowd just as he's about to do it, which is like, oh, thanks guys.
It's not that will not be the worst camera cut that this show will ever have.
It's worse.
Because we'll kind of set it up now. Did we mention the referee during the Chamber?
We did mention the referee. Yes,
we did mention referee.
I will have a good old thing about the referee later on.
I think I might know that you mean.
Oh boy!
But like, and then they keep talking about Big Josh's Northern Exposure, which again put me on edge. Then I realised it's his finisher, which I think previously they called the butt bomb. Was it the butt drop or whatever they called it? Remember Dusty Rhodes was like, I think I call that the butt drop. It's like, no, we don't call it that.
That'd be terrible. Yeah.
And I quite think after PN News does his big splash and then he's pinning the guy, like Josh jumps on his back just to help out with a pin.
I don't know. The most entertaining part of this match for me was Garamega Capetta dressed as a circus ringmaster.
It was only like at the start of the next match I realised what he was wearing.
No, I spotted it straight away.
It was like the next match he goes, where is it? Bobby Eaton versus Terrence Taylor. He does the announcement for that and he kind of walks past the camera. I was like, what the fuck is Gary Carpetta wearing? Like it caught me completely off guard.
It is something to behold, that's to be sure.
Like a kind of circus leader jacket with like epaulets and all sorts going on. It's like, that's
I would also like to point out that Gary Metcalpet is very much like the dad who dragged to the Halloween party. He'll go in outfit, but he won't go do anything about the character. He just does his own thing.
Halloween at all, will he?
No.
He's just there because his kids are there and doesn't want them to be alone. So,
anyone else spot that dread intro? I think it was was it? No, I think Terrence Taylor was the number 7 ranked athlete in the world. I assume the world being WCW.
Well, yeah, it was number 7 in the rankings, which then made me think, oh my God, is this where Tony Khan got the idea for his rankings?
Who knows? No, he wouldn't have even been born here, would he? I don't think. Would he have been born?
Mid-South Tony,
That's true. Tony Khan's
1982 he was born.
I was going to say he's not that far off of the sort of our sort of age.
Quite.
Yes.
I was going to say
I was born into a billionaire
late
family.
30s, early 40s. He's not far off what we.
This match is good if random.
They do. I think JR says like this might be the best He said might be the best match or best technical match on the card. I think is what he says, but in the lead up to it, which
I mean that's a ridiculous statement. I mean, we've got a match coming up in 2 matches that's probably the greatest exhibit of strength ever seen. No, I said exhibit of strength and not wrestling.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, you got like Bobby Eaton and Terrence Taylor. They're 2 cracking workers.
This I thought was decent. I mean, I know when we do WCW pay-per-views from this era, there's always like this air of absolute bonkers ridiculous going on, with match type things. In this case, obviously, like in Chamber of Horrors and Halloween stuff. But there's a lot of moments in these WCW pay-per-views that have matches which are really bloody good, proper old school, hard fought contests. That not wishing to sound like Jim Cornette, but believable. None of this wrestling. Yeah, I mean, 9-year-old girls and ruining the business. All this kind of shit.
It's 2 men who get in the ring with the sole intention of kicking the shit out of each other.
Yeah, it's really bloody good.
And it goes like 16 minutes. It's like a good long match.
It's a good chunk.
It's a good chunky match.
It's sort of definitely. I would have guessed around about the 20-minute mark, but.
Yeah, I put it's just a good honest match. It's just a good kind of like
Yeah, it's cracking.
Heel gets heat, babyface comes back. It's just like
I like Alexandra York with the computer, which I think is a gimmick that it's a gimmick that I think would work now with like AI.
Totally, yeah.
Oh my God, ChatGPT books. Oh, that's dangerous. You don't want to put that out there.
Just like have a wrestler that just consults their mobile phone all the time.
Yeah, what should
I mean, wasn't that Tyler Breeze's gimmick for a while? I mean, he was taking video.
That was to take photos because he was a model and he was, gorgeous and all this kind of stuff, and was, led us to that funny moment where Jushin Liger did the same thing at that NXT show.
That was fucking amazing.
I forgot about that.
I watched the match the other day and I just like, Jushin Thunder Liger was in NXT for 1 match. What a weird world we live in.
It's just like he only had 1 WWE match his entire career. Eaton gets a punch off the top, and then there's an Alabama Jam, and Eaton wins with a 3 count.
There we go.
It's really fucking good. In the meantime, it's really. I've got the notes in here going. Below the note that says Eaton is jet streaming snot, it just says this is good.
Oh my!
This is good, and I meant the match, not jet streaming snot.
Yeah, no one wants that.
Yes, no, nobody wants that.
Yeah, there is a bit where there's this line of just phlegm, just shoots out of Eaton's mouth. No.
That's one of the things that makes me into these decades and do bogies. I don't know what it is.
Yeah,
it just makes me just like kicks in the old gag reflex straight away.
Yeah, pretty much.
Speaking of gag reflex, Jimmy Jam Garvin versus Johnny B. Bad.
Oh, come on. Don't say anything bad about Johnny B. Bad. He is the man.
And he's now got the Bad Blaster, because last time we saw him,
Yay!
It was a debut, wasn't it, at the last pay-per-view?
It was his debut with Mr. Terrence Long.
Yeah, he's still there. And we get the crowd get Bad Blasted. And so does the ring for basically the rest of the night, because they just can't get rid of that stuff.
That's confetti everywhere.
Once you got glitter on that ring, Matt, it sticks to the snot from Bob Eaton, and then that's it.
Oh,
God,
I mean, it's just,
it's
disgusting.
Sparkly snot rockets.
I mean, this match was clearly just a match to get Johnny B. Bad over, let's be honest.
Mm-hmm. It's weird, because like, the Freebirds are over with the crowd, and obviously Johnny B. Bad's got the Bad Blaster, but also nobody cares. It's really kind of weird.
I mean, comparing this to where he was in like the late 90s, where like he was the hottest thing going. Like he would come out in the crowd to go ballistic.
Weird, isn't it? I was like, that's how he kind of built to that, from essentially just kind of coming out with a big cape and just burning over the crowd.
Being very questionable.
He is kind of brave to do that kind of gimmick in a southern-based wrestling organization in the early
Chattanooga
90s,
as well.
Yes.
I would guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how the people of Chattanooga were taking this gimmick.
No, but it's, I mean...
And it's even more surprising considering Johnny nearly kills himself at one point during this match.
Yes.
He nearly actually dies when he attempts the kind of the not very often seen sunset flip from the top rope.
I have got here, bad top rope sunset flip looks dodgy.
And it's just like...
Not recommended.
Last second, he tucks his chin and just about saves his life.
Yeah.
Just about.
Yeah.
It's like, why would you dive off the top rope to do a sunset flip? What I don't understand, like, why?
Because you want to get over.
But there's ways of doing that don't need the end of you like inches away from death.
But Phil, the Bad Blaster didn't work, so he had to go for work rate. Unfortunately, Johnny Bad's not much of a worker.
He can climb to the top rope really well. He does that quite a lot in this match.
Here's the thing, though. You kind of forget that Mark Merrow is no slouch.
No, he's not.
I know I've said this before, but, you know, with the gimmick of Johnny B. Bad, it's really, really kind of easy to sort of think he was just sort of like all character and no ability. But, you know, the guy's a Golden Glove kind of boxer, you know what I mean? He is... He can go.
Like, at this point, he couldn't really go in a way that, like, I suppose he's got, like, a good partner in the ring with Jimmy Garvin. Obviously, he's a veteran. He can kind of get him through a match at this point, but still.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like...
I think Garvin was real much driving the bus in this match.
Yes. As was your boy Michael Hayes from the ring from the side as well.
Oh, he's just...
He's got his arm in the sling, hasn't he?
Yeah, even when he's, like, slamming the ring mat with that said arm.
Yeah. It is a bit like, yeah.
Kind of forgot that, didn't it, Michael? Didn't realise
obvious,
that,
kind of like, yeah, totally injured, not really.
Not really, no.
And it's a bit of a messy ending. Well, not a messy ending, but it's like there's a distraction. Bad gets in with his left hook and then gets the pin.
Is it any worse than the ending of the Chamber of Horrors match?
I suppose
totally
I suppose really Bad didn't kill a man to win a match.
No, I didn't have to put him in an electric chair and flip the switch.
It's a very specific amount of electricity where you don't kill somebody, but you just render them helpless.
Yeah, that's a taser.
The WCW scientists.
WCW, Jesus, that would be a TV series I want to see. WCW Science.
Oh, no.
RoboCop. Anyway, back with Missy.
RoboCop. Oh, God.
Please don't suddenly start thinking that you're going to be doing sort of Capital Combat 90 as a result of that.
I was going to say, please, no Capital Combat, thank you.
That whole scenario out where RoboCop jumps to WWF and forms a tag team with a big boss man.
We did fantasy book that.
Yep.
And then turns heel on him to team with the Mountie. So it's like Mountie Cop.
So stupid.
Robo Mountie.
Oh no.
I am the Mountie, System 32 error, beep boop.
It's just RoboCop with like a Mountie's hat on.
Spray painted red.
Yeah.
RoboCop spray painted red with a spray on beard.
Yes. Would that have been any worse than the Quebecers, would it? No, it wouldn't.
I mean...
So, Missy's still looking for the Phantom, but instead she finds Bobby Eaton with a pumpkin. I got no clue about that bit.
Where does pumpkin come from?
It's the way... No, wait. We need to back up, right? Bobby Eaton says the words, I've won a match, I've got a pumpkin, I'm going to celebrate. And I'm like, what is he doing?
No, you know where he's at. Tell me, I want to be the first.
Hey, Missy, I'm going to celebrate. I just want a match.
Do we want to know?
I don't think we want to know. Some special wrestler thing to do on the road by the sound of things.
Yeah, I don't think Missy Hyatt wants to go into the gents' changing room for that one.
Maybe she does.
Well, I mean, given the last time she did that, she nearly got accosted by a crazed Stan Hansen.
Well, yeah. I mean, is the joke during all of this that Missy Hyatt's a bit of a ditzy, thick bimbo? Is that they seems to just be playing kind of, to that.
They do suggest that.
Well, I mean,
they do lean in that direction, I believe.
She doesn't think she's thick as dog shit, though. That's the thing. But every situation she's portrayed in, she ends up looking like a dummy because WCW.
Because this seems to be a really weird kind of backwards 90s, again, Southern wrestling booking.
Yeah.
In the fact that the lassie who does all the interviews backstage is kind of just really loud and dense.
They've got the smart one with the computer out as a valet earlier, so
Yeah.
You've got to balance it out.
You can have one intelligent woman on a wrestling show. Jesus, wept. Yeah.
Come on, Cameron.
Sorry. Yeah, should have known.
Yes. Moving on to our first championship match of the evening.
There's four. I meant to mention that there's 4 championship matches on there. They kind of keep plugging that through in the card.
There are.
And this is number 1.
There are. This is for the WCW World Television Championship with the champion Steve Austin with Lady Blossom against the challenger 1 Dustin Rhodes, who looks about 12.
He does. Now then, lads.
He really does.
Before we begin this match in earnest,
yes.
I've done a little bit of research. This one, me and Alan. Who's Lady Blossom?
I did some research on that as well. She, I believe, used to be the partner of Gentleman. Was it Chris Adams? And then
maybe
they had like a feud thing going on with on the indie circuit or whatever, the previous company that Stone Cold was at. And then later on, he married said Lady Blossom.
Yes, she is currently Mrs. Steve Williams or Steve Austin in this match in real life. So his valet is his real life wife. They divorced in 1999. Now you know when this when Steve Austin always tells the story about how he came up with the Stone Cold name in 1995 because his wife at the time was British, and she said he was drinking a cup of tea, and she said, drink your tea before it gets stone cold. This, Lady Blossom is responsible for naming one of the greatest wrestlers in the last 30 years.
Imagine that tea was lukewarm. I don't think lukewarm Steve Austin would be quite the same.
No, that's an Italian job, is it not?
Lukewarm. There's a wrestler name if I ever saw one.
It is really weird seeing Austin with hair and multicolored trunks, though.
Although he's got long hair, but you can kind of tell that hair's not long for this world. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, it's true. Yeah, he's going to buzz cut that in.
You can kind of see it's like it's kind of doing that Shawn Michaels thing where it's like, forehead's going up a bit high, isn't it?
Yeah, kind of.
Going a little bit high.
We've got Grandma Rhodes in this match as well.
Oh, jeez.
She at ringside,
well,
isn't she?
In the match, but at ringside, we've got Grandma Rhodes.
That'd be amazing. She jumps the barrier and gets in the ring and just gets annihilated.
That'd be great. They do have that traditional thing of kind of ruining it, though, by consistently announcing the time limits as it ticks down.
I've written that down. I was like,
you're always a bit like, gee, really? We're counting down.
I have a take on that.
Go on.
It's something that I do notice now. Places, I'm just going to use New Japan as an example. New Japan announce the time all the time. They'll say, give you a 5 minute, a 10 minute, a 50 minute. That's fine if you do it consistently, but if you start doing it randomly for one match, that telegraphs it right away. That's like, we're clearly going the time limit of 15, 30, 60, however long it is. It just ruins any drama that the match is building up because you already know, well, this is going to go the time limit, so why do I care?
Exactly, yeah. It's a bit like, as soon as they did that, it's like, oh, here we go. And it's a bit of a shame because like the start of the match is cracking. There's a bit where I think Rhodes like kills Austin with a lariat, which was pretty cool.
Yep.
Yeah, this lariat was stiff.
And there's lots of kind of counters and stuff to start with. What also concerned me as well, there's a bit where Rhodes clotheslines Steve Austin on the top of the ropes. And like, oh no, that's not a DQ. That's not a DQ. And it's like, oh no, it's not over the top rope DQs, which will come back.
We're well in the era of we'll come back to it later.
As a bit of foreshadowing, we'll come back to that.
It's
like, I mean, they got padding at the ring, so I don't think it's gone full bad era, but still, it's like, why are we even talking about top rope DQs? It makes no sense. But like, it's kind of like it's got a great like they kind of slow it down. They get pace again. They slow it down. Like these two, obviously, they're still both relatively early in their careers. Like Austin's only 2 years in. 91? 2-3 years in, maybe?
No, he's done. I think. Hold on. Good point.
89 he debuted.
Was it 89?
Yeah, 89, yeah.
Wow, okay. Cool. Right, okay. So 89. So yeah, a couple of years.
There we go.
Obviously, Justin's like, but both of them you can kind of tell. I think Jim Ross has some commentary about, if he was starting his own company, Austin would be one of the guys he'd pick.
Yep.
Yeah, true.
I would say so. And I mean, you can tell that there's definitely something there with him.
Yeah, totally.
From the start, because he's just, the way he just owns the ring, his mannerisms, he just gets it, and he knows that while he's still fairly new to the business, he knows his character. He knows what he wants to be. A lot of people, I think, the first maybe 5 or so years of their professional career, they're trying to find themselves, but it seems to me that Austin found himself extremely quick, or just hit upon a gimmick that connected with people. And I think that's where a lot of people struggle, because they have that initial where the crowd couldn't care less about you, and I think a lot of people get quite disheartened and kind of go, "Oh, what's the point?" But you need to sort of work at it in a way that don't make it like. I'm just gonna say the bro chacho stuff in AEW can just go away. That just is a big turn off for me. I don't want that in my wrestling, because
we'll have to agree if I want, because I love it.
Okay, well that's fine, but to like I say, to other people it's great, and I think it's trying to find that happy medium where you get the largest audience possible. And I think that's where Austin comes into play, and I think obviously the Attitude Era, is pretty much a god at that point. I think, and even after that,
what's kind of good is like, even though like Sterling Steve's a gimmick, like he doesn't feel like a gimmick. You know what I mean? Like he feels like you look at Oz is a gimmick. You know what I mean? You look at like,
Oz is many things.
You look at Big Josh, that's a gimmick. But like you look at Sterling Steve, like that feels like it feels real. You know, and that's half about making it feel real. If it's real for you, then it's going to be real for the audience. They can connect to you a lot easier.
Yeah, you're right in that sense. I think there's also a kind of something to be said of the fact that Austin has always been renowned as being quite protective over his character as well.
Mm-hmm.
He's not. Yeah. He was never keen during his career about other people fucking around with it, and which came across. Jim Ross in his podcast will tell a lot of stories about how that made Austin sometimes a bit of an arse to deal with. But when they realised the amount of money they were making off him, and when other wrestlers realised that they were making a percentage of that money being on house shows with him, it was kind of something that they tried to facilitate as much as possible.
Yeah.
And if Steve came up with an idea for his character, they tended to go with it.
Why wouldn't you go with the Golden Goose?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, but how do you know he's the Golden Goose back then unless you'd seen him? And I think it's... If you're at that level, of course, you're going to have a bit more sway with people, but I think you just need to have a sort of belief that this is going to work and go for it and really put it out there and put it all. And if it doesn't work, okay, that's not the best, but you put yourself out. I think that just works in your favor going forward. If you are going to suggest things that go, okay, they had this one idea, maybe it wasn't the best, but let's give this another one a try.
I suppose it's kind of the same for Dustin, because obviously he wouldn't necessarily get to the biggest heights of Stone Cold, but obviously when he weirdly he kind of found his greatest success in like the ultimate gimmick with Goldust.
Yeah.
You know, I don't you would probably say Goldust isn't like a real part. Like you would look at that and kind of go, that's not really Dustin Rhodes, is it? But like he believed in it so much and made it real for himself and the audience.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was probably 95 Goldust was like huge. 95, 96 Goldust.
Oh yeah.
Again, because it was a brave gimmick to have even in sort of mid-90s. And I think if you were to look at the Dustin Rhodes now in this match and say, give it another 5 years, and he'll be wearing women's suspenders in the ring, and it would be like kind of going, what?
Yeah.
You'd be like, it's weird how wrestling works out that way sometimes.
Totally.
But yeah, definitely the Goldust gimmick. That was he went places with that.
Yeah.
Austin found his biggest success with arguably something that was very real and probably as close to his personality was Dustin Rhodes' big success was something completely opposite from that. It's like wrestling's weird.
Yeah. Oh yeah, something completely nuts.
And I think that the Dustin Rhodes is my highlight of this match involved Dustin Rhodes where Austin ducks a crossbody and Dustin Rhodes, like a stone being skipped across a lake, just vanishes out of the ring.
Yes.
Just one bounce and he's gone. It's brilliant. But yeah, surprisingly, this match goes to a time limit draw. Who would have thunk it?
I know.
Fancy that.
I've got notes on here. 4 minutes remaining. Blossom slaps Rhodes. Austin misses leg drop into the ropes. Rhodes lariat, pin, but Austin's foot's on the ropes. Back outside. 2 minutes. Rhodes power slam for 2. Bionic elbow for 2. 1 minute. Cover punches. 30 seconds. Rhodes top rope clothesline. No time for a 3 count. It's a draw. Austin retains.
Yeah. Both bleeding as well, might add. Both of them got colour in this, didn't they?
Both of them are bleeding all over the place by the end of it.
Yeah. I mean, Dustin Rhodes isn't afraid to run the blade, let's be fair.
No. And Austin quite readily does it as well.
Did we point out about 4 people in the Chamber Horror match were bleeding by the end of that, I think? But most people were. Cactus was.
Abdullah sneezed and he started bleeding, so I think he's got quite a nasty knot at that point.
So Eaton bleeding? It feels like there's been colour in every match so far.
Eaton is a bit, yeah. I think Eaton's above his eye, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Jimmy Garvin was, I suppose, yeah. Big Josh wasn't because he didn't have his bears to attack his opponents this time.
No.
It's just a shame. Like I feel like if this was this is probably one of those matches was like in the context of like a larger feud would be good. You know what I mean? Like you kind of this is the start of but then another match on and then another pay per view and it kind of builds a bigger match whatever down the road. But it definitely feels like the opening match in a series, which is nice and all that. But it's like, why do we got to do a time limit draw? Why? Dusty protecting his kid again. That's what it is.
Maybe. I mean, it's probably the fairest thing to do. You know, he keeps the title on Austin, doesn't, makes them both look good.
Just the ending always kind of sucks the energy out of a crowd. And it's like,
I think it's more once you know, I mean, as seasoned wrestling fans, and we established we're all the same. The minute they said 10 minutes remaining, I was like, oh, this is just a draw. Which kind of sucked a bit. But from a match quality point of view, it's still really, really good. It's kind of up there with Eaton versus Taylor. For me, thus far as match
the
tonight.
Countdown does suck in the crowd. Like the crowd are up for it, but as soon as it's a draw, it just the whole crowd just kind of goes and it just deflates the atmosphere.
I mean, this match would work if it was a TV match. That's fine, but I think to do a draw on pay per view when to me it's lazy booking.
Yeah, or you have the draw, but then have some other people run in to beat up Dustin in, and then or have him kind of him kind of fight back, and then kind of to get that kind of baby face winning, standing up at the end of the match sort of thing, to kind of get the crowd back up on their feet. It just kind of goes, oh, it's a draw,
That's literally what it's like. It's just like, oh, it's a draw. Okay, well, I guess I'll go to the toilet now.
Gonna go. Where's the hotel? It's like, it's great.
Yeah,
but they pick everybody back up with an advert. What is clearly going to be the greatest pay per view of all time. Boys, did you see this?
I did see this.
This idea. It was like Starcade 91, right? It's not just Starcade, right? It's called Battle Bowl because we saw a CG bowl, right, with CG cards, the rest of the faces dropping into the bowl. And it's called the Lethal Lottery. I mean, that's going to be amazing, right? Oh, God. Oh.
If only they put as much effort into the actual tournament itself than they did in this advert, it probably would have worked out better.
It would have worked out amazing.
But as we know, because we've watched the show, it doesn't.
Oh, yeah, we have, and it was terrible. Yeah, that's the point.
Yeah, it was bloody awful.
It was awful, yeah. It was awful.
Okay, I hope we're going to cut all this tittle-tattle out of the podcast, and we're going to get the best...
Tittle-tattle?
Tittle-tattle. There you go. That's how we roll into the second half.
Right, we need Geordie Al's rewind.
Oh, okay.
I could do a sound effect for that. That's brilliant.
You should.
So this is the Geordie Al rewind. I just think we'll recap what happened in the first half of the show.
For no reason at all, we'll do a recap right now.
I think it's the best thing to do. Now, I did do a bit of more little studying on the chamber itself. And I apologise if I repeat myself. My memory's not what it used to be.
All those chair shots to the head is now.
But, I mean, for starters, the thing that says card subject to change. You may as well have just not bothered advertising the heel team because you only got the diamond stud.
It's all the rest. It was just kind of tricked in last minute, weren't they?
Well, one man gang left, so he was replaced by Abdul the Butcher. Then, for some reason, I guess because they were hanging out together, Cactus Jack had to be popped in the match, so Oz was substituted for him, and then Oz got put in another match, which we'll get to very shortly. And on the other side, you had Barry Windham got his arm broken at the start of the show, so he was out. And then Vader just happened to be known he was wrestling tonight. That was handy that he turned up with all his wrestling gear. And he took Barry Windham's place. So yes, that was a almost totally different heel team to what was advertised.
It's just weird how you kind of have this big kind of it is a marquee match. It is Chamber of Horrors and Halloween Havoc pay-per-view, and there's no build for it. It's just a load of dudes chucked into a mixing bowl and just kind of thrown into an electric chair.
Did you ever think at one point this was going to be a yearly match? Do you think they ever thought about doing it as a yearly fixture?
Like War Games?
Oh, God. Yeah. They'd have sat there. Dusty Rhodes would have probably went yeah, we could do this every single time.
And it makes sense, like, because it's the Halloween Havoc pay-per-view, you'd have some kind of big, like, horror-themed thing for it, but it's just, if you don't organically build into it, what's the point?
What was it called? The chair of torture or something? A lot like
Yeah, chair of torture.
Chair,
Yeah,
so.
I don't think they ever referred to it as an electric chair. I think that might have been
chair of torture that was connected to the
insensitive.
fatal lever. And when you pull the fatal lever, it renders you helpless, not dead. Helpless. There's a very broad distinction there.
I think, if I remember correctly, I think it was Vader that fucked it up, because I'm sure when he came in, he started shaking the cage at the very start of the match, and I think that dislodged the switch straight away.
Well, yeah, because you touch one side of the cage and it just ripples right round to the other side.
What did you fellas make of referee?
Terrible, awful.
Yeah.
You say that, but to me, it was still the best vantage point to watch the match because you didn't have the cage in the way.
No, but we'll get to how there's only a couple of matches on this show that have referee as a feature, and we're going to get very, very shortly into why it completely screws something up.
Well, I mean, you could argue the best way to watch the match was with your eyes closed, but still, it was the sort of thing that you get.
I think, I don't think we did a direct comparison, but it's like, it's not as bad as the Punjabi prison match where you couldn't see into the actual ring to see the actual action going on. Well, but once they kind of lower the chair down and it's shock tank cage thing, like the ring's just too full of stuff. There's just too much stuff going on.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to take you back to a little story now.
Oh, hello.
Now, I obviously love defending old WF events. I grew up with them and all the rest of it. But that nostalgia doesn't seem to ripple through to WCW.
I wonder why.
So I'm watching these events. Maybe you see, I always say at the time you had to be there. But I can't go back to '91 and watch it. I got a feeling my 10-year-old, 11-year-old self would have loved this crap.
Yeah.
But today it just looks some of it. So tell you a little story of what happened. There's a little school just outside of where's this filmed? Just outside of where the hell's Chattanooga? How do you say
Chattanooga?
That? Yeah, there you go.
Chattanooga.
Just outside there, a little. What happened was a small child. Let's say he's called Little. Little Timmy was there one day, having a little few tears in the assembly hall. So the headmaster comes up and says, "What's wrong, little Timmy?" Timmy went, "I'm sad because we haven't got a panto this season." And the headmaster went, "I'm really sorry." Count Bischoff came along and he wanted the house for his stage set for Halloween Havoc. So we had to sell him it because he needed the highest production of crappy Halloween haunted house thing on his stage. So, I mean, it looks like it's from a fucking kid's pantomime. Why on earth is that on the pay-per-view, for fuck's sake? Can someone answer that? Would McMahon let that shit fly?
I mean, I don't think we mentioned the gravestones and all the kind of comments that are written on them and the kind of bad puns.
They're also supposed to be inside jokes by the production staff.
Yeah, I was going to say all the tomb. I seem to remember there's 1 year where pretty much every single tombstone has like an in joke or a reference on it.
Yeah.
So Timmy's very upset that the Panto is being cancelled because Eric Bischoff stole the little backdrop that they had for the play.
To be fair to him, Bischoff wasn't in charge at this point in time.
But, whoa! No, he's Count Bischoff. He's in charge of all of Halloween. You know? I thought for a second he was going to do that accent for the whole pay-per-view.
That would have been
would
horrific.
be better if he did.
But anyway, so Timmy's still upset, and he's like, "Oh, little Timmy, what's wrong now?" He's like, "Well, I've heard we've had to cancel cookery." He's like, "I'm sorry, Timmy, that's true. Count Bischoff needed all the flour to cover Adam Bomb and all the other jobbers, so we now have no flour left because I had to portray ghouls in Halloween Havoc." Now, you're not telling me that wasn't flour. Did you see when they got punched?
They exploded into dust, yes.
Yeah, and I mean, poor Adam Bomb. He must have knew his career was getting better by that point.
So, wait a second. Are you telling me one of the ghouls was Adam Bomb?
I'm telling you one of the ghouls was Adam Bomb, yes.
Oh my God.
Wow.
So he gets killed by Abdullah the Butcher, and the only thing that resurrects him is 3 Mile Island's nuclear bombs.
Yep, I'm telling you, yeah, there you go.
Tell you what, I'll pick Halloween Havoc 1990, and we'll see what the set looks like then, yeah?
Oh, no, don't, no. At least save it till next year. Next October.
Next October, yeah, we'll see.
Just before I wrap up this little retrospective on the match, little Timmy,
the podcast.
Little Timmy told his headmaster.
Oh, we're back to Little Timmy.
He told his headmaster an interesting fact.
Did he?
Do you know this match contains 88% of Hall of Famers?
Cameron did indeed point this out, that El Gigante is the only
He is.
Yeah. I didn't go into the rest of your research, so Al, don't worry.
Good, right. So I was then set a task to find a match with the more percentage of Hall of Famers in.
Uh-huh.
Now, with more than 2 people, because that'd be quite easy.
Yes, I didn't do... Yeah, it has to be a multi-man match.
Yeah.
Because 2 would be dead easy, wouldn't
it? Even 4 would be easy. So no, I went... Now, I probably could have researched War Games a bit better, but it was time constraints. So I don't think any of the earlier War Games beat this. Sorry, any of the later War Games beat this. Possibly an earlier one, but I just had to skim. But I know Survivor Series off by heart, so that's what I've based it on. So just to give a couple of comparisons, the very first Survivor Series had the excellent all-star team of Duggan, Macho Man, Beefcake, Steamboat, and Roberts on one team. 100% Hall of Famers.
Wow, yeah.
But on the other side, you got the Honky Tonk Man and Harley Race. You didn't have Danny Davis, Hercules, and Ron Bass are not yet in the Hall of Fame.
That's a shocker.
So that was 7 to be said.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Another very important match was the inaugural Brawl at Invasion.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes, yeah.
80% Hall of Famers there.
Ooh.
You're missing Rhino and Jericho from the Hall of Fame lineup.
I think give that 5-10 years, and I think that'll be near enough 100%, surely.
Yeah. You also had a very interesting Survivor Series match in '94 with, again, a pretty all-star team of the 1-2-3 Kid, Razor Ramon, Bulldog, and Rikishi.
Ooh.
However, surprisingly, the Barbarian was in that match, and he's not in the Hall of Fame. But I think it's to do with he's trying to do that concussion lawsuit thing, so it might be a while before he gets there.
He'll be one of the what's the word? The I can't even know how to put it. The dead entries.
Yeah. On the opposite team, you had a stellar lineup of Diesel, Shawn Michaels, Jeff Jarrett, Jim Neidhart, but sadly Owen Hart, who deserves the Hall of Fame, but we know the reasons why he probably won't get in the Hall of Fame.
Yes, because he doesn't. I think he's been offered, but Martha doesn't want him to be part of it.
So, although them 2 matches had more Hall of Famers in, because they had 8 and not 7, but as a total percentage, they're still less than our Hall of Fame. And a Hall of Fame, what's it called? Chamber of Horrors at 88%.
That's still the top of the charts.
However, I've got a match that has 100% Hall of Famers.
No way.
Oh.
So what I want you to do is just a little quiz where if it goes on too long, I'll cut it. But you and Cam's is alternate guessing which Hall of Famers might be in the match. And when you start to get some right, you can guess what the match is.
Do we get any clues of the year or the event that it's
Not yet. I'll give you some more clues once you name some people from it.
Okay. All right. Mick Foley.
No.
Hogan.
No.
Ooh.
Shawn Michaels.
No.
Intriguing. Big Boss Man.
No.
Bret Hart.
Yes.
Okay, we've hit one.
All right. Neidhart.
Sorry, Neidhart, yes.
Bulldog.
No.
Steve Austin.
No.
LOD.
No.
Bushwhackers.
No. There's only one more tag team in it, and I think you'll be guessing a long time to get it, so you might want to go away from tag teams.
Doesn't help. Doesn't help, Alan.
Ted DiBiase.
Yes.
Right, he's in it. Okay, so
it's got to be a Survivor Series then.
It's a Survivor Series match then.
Have we said Duggan?
Yes.
Was that to Duggan or Taker?
Taker.
It's not the Survivor Series 90 match, is it?
It is. It's Taker's debut.
Oh, because Piper's in it.
Wow.
So Piper you have... commentary, isn't he?
Nope. You have The Undertaker, Ted DiBiase.
Huh?
Honky Tonk Man and Greg Valentine. That was the tag team I didn't think you were guessing.
Oh,
and then on the opposite side, you've got the Hart Foundation, Dusty Rhodes, and Coco Beware.
Coco Beware, yeah.
Never would have guessed Coco.
Bit of a tombstone, isn't he?
I thought once you got maybe DiBiase and Undertaker, you would probably get it. But yeah. So that's.
I think once we locked in Undertaker, then it's look at the ham hocks on that. Because Piper's not in the match, but he is on commentary.
He's on commentary,
yeah. Because look at the ham hocks on that, yeah.
And is it Monsoon on commentary as well?
Yes, it is.
So would that be a Hall of Fame commentary team as well?
It would indeed.
Wow, yeah.
There you
However,
go.
you can't say managers because Brother Love and Virgil's on the outside. But
who's the referee?
I think Shane Douglas. Not Shane Douglas. Shane McMahon is on the outside for the match. I can't remember. Is it Shane Stevens he goes by? I think that's his referee now.
Yeah, it'd be amazing if Shane Douglas did it.
I'm sure Bruce Pritchard will probably get in the Hall of Fame one day.
No,
but
probably, yeah.
I'm not convinced Virgil's heading there, I'm afraid.
No.
Again, posthumously.
I think possibly, yeah.
That's the nice word, isn't it?
But anyway, I just thought I'd throw that in, but that's weekend now. Oh, hang on. I've just got a few other little catch-up notes for the rest of the show, but this will be very quick. What sort of team is PNU's and Big Josh?
An awesome team, thank you very much.
Because lumberjacks and rappers seem to go hand in hand with each other.
They're an oddball team that works. What can I say?
I'm trying to make a pun. Like, can anyone think of a good pun for the name or anything?
All I can think of at the minute is a rap involving a rhyme between the words trees and bees, and I can't get there.
Would that involve the Killer Bees?
Mm.
PN and Josh out in the trees trying to find down the Killer Bees. He's going to hit you with his northern exposure, then he'll be arrested for exposure. We'll move on.
Yeah, we'll move on. We'll work on that. Yeah.
We'll workshop it a bit more.
The creatures were the opponents, and apparently that was the original. Have you ever heard of the gimmick, the Hunchbacks?
Yep.
That's apparently what these were going to be.
I don't know what this thing is with like WCW's obsession with creating tag team gimmicks with the two people are exactly the same. What was it? The Ding Dongs. That's the WCW one, isn't it?
Oh, the Bells. Yeah. That was it.
Got these creature lads.
I mean, like, come on. I mean, they're going to tell me the Conquistadores next. I mean,
It's like, why do you a tag team? You can't tell them. I get for heel because they can just kind of jump in and out and confuse the people and that kind of stuff. But it doesn't make any sense. It's just a stupid. It never works. Like, it never works.
Bobby Eaton beat Terry Taylor with a leg drop. I think we said that before. Someone explain what was going on in the next match. So Johnny B. Bad
versus Jimmy Jam Garvin.
Jimmy Garvin with Michael Hayes with a sling.
Yep.
And he beat him with a punch, I believe.
Laid him out with his iron blade.
Which is the precursor to the... No, it's not called the Tutti Frutti, but I was going to say it's a precursor to the Tutti Frutti, basically.
So then Michael Hayes takes his sling off at the end to reveal he's not injured.
He's just... Yeah, I don't know.
No.
So why on earth isn't he going to wrestle in the match that he scheduled for later on? But the mind boggles.
I think he just can't be asked.
He just wanted them off, I guess.
That's what it is.
To turn up with
You've also missed Bobby Eaton in the back locker room taking a pumpkin to celebrate, Al.
Oh no, I don't.
We were a bit confused as to what Bobby Eaton needed a pumpkin for to celebrate, and then the mind truly boggled, and we left it alone.
Just left it alone.
Yeah, I think you'll probably made the point on Lady Blossom on the original thing, Cam. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, imagine if that T story hadn't come true, and then you would have had Chili McFree's 316. Can you imagine that?
I don't think his career would have gone as well.
I can't really see him.
You don't think so?
I just froze your ass. Yeah, it could have been anywhere.
Oh no!
That's another T-shirt.
He comes to the ring with some sort of slush puppy machine to squirt McMahon with. It's like
it writes itself. It just books itself, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Then in the invasion angle, he teams up with Glacier.
Yeah, you're right.
Oh no!
See how it just knits itself together? It's brilliant.
You can have Al Snow in there as well. He's quite on
the whole stable. It's a whole stable.
Get the Yeti air back. He's in a big block of you know what? In an alternate universe, that's exactly how it went down, isn't it?
That's brilliant. That's exactly how it went down.
Probably.
But one thing I like to say is like WCW shortchanged their audience so much with stupid time limit draws, right?
Yeah.
Do you know on WF pay-per-view, again, to the best of my knowledge, about to this time, I believe there was only one time limit draw that went on pay-per-view, and that was the very first match of SummerSlam '88. And I believe that's the only match on pay-per-view to this time that the audience were kind of robbed of a bit. But it seems to happen every pay-per-view we do on WCW. Someone goes to a time limit draw.
I suppose the only time they do like a time limit draw would be like in like an Iron Man match or something.
Yeah.
Or best of 3 falls or whatever. And it's like 1-1, and they kind of go to a time limit. And it's like, oh no, but 5 more minutes or whatever. And like the Bobby Eaton match, that went 60 minutes, and there was no time calls in that at all. So yeah.
So it's so stupid. Like, at least if you want to do it, just put 5-minute calls on other matches, just to make things seem, that
make it consistent across the card.
PNUs versus the Creatures and that. You could have counted 5 minutes gone. It was only 16 seconds left of the match after that, but still, just counted. Build up for the splash. 5 minutes gone. Yeah. Let's go to match number 6 of the night.
Which I would like to just highlight this match to give us like a little bit of context, because the last WCW show we did was obviously Super Brawl 1991, where we saw the debut of one of the entrants in this match, the Great Oz, which we did, as we would recall, had like a huge castle set that appeared out of nowhere, had like 4 or 5 people playing characters from Wizard of Oz. Was about, I don't know, half an hour long, was it, that intro for him coming in? It felt like it. And there was like special lights, and I'm sure there was pyro, and it was a big thing. It led to a big squash, and all kind of like, look at all the time and money they spent on kind of introducing this character called Oz as like this big, huge entrance in the company. And then 5 months later, he's up against Bill Kazmaier. And how long is this match?
I don't know, because it was under 5 minutes, so I didn't hear the time cue.
I don't think there was enough time to have a 5-minute time cue.
3 minutes 59 seconds.
There you go, and he loses. So clearly, the gimmick has not gone at all well, has it?
They've kind of lost interest quite severely.
Yeah, which is quite harsh, because Kevin comes out, he's looking alright. I mean, he hasn't got Kevin Sutherland, which is one good thing. He hasn't got the kind of welcome to ours. We haven't got that, which is a bonus.
Yeah.
But then he's somehow upstaged by a man carrying a giant inflatable globe. How does that work?
Well, he's Atlas, but for some reason he's showing off his world's strongest man credentials by carrying an inflatable globe. Yeah.
Do you reckon, how like the $1 Million Man had to kind of carry the belt around, and Jake had to carry the snake around, and that sort of thing, but he was traveling?
He carried the globe around.
Yeah. Think he had to get that on a plane?
Is technically the myth about Atlas that he had to hold the globe, when in reality, in Greek myth, he held up the sky?
I think that's for your Greek mythology podcast, Cam. It's not for you.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm aware I've just used the phrase "in reality" of Greek myth.
Yeah, but you're off down a rabbit hole that we're not following, I'm afraid.
Okay, fair enough. I just thought I'd point that out. I'm sure he holds up the sky.
Well, like I say, show me the point in the God of War games where you meet him, and I'll be able to tell you. But unfortunately, I don't think I can remember.
It's in God of War 3.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Thank
I wouldn't have played the first one.
So,
yeah. And also, if you bring something to the ring, you want to bring IRS's case, because it's made of steel. You can waffle somebody with it. If he hits somebody with that globe, it's just going to bounce off into the crowd. Isn't it?
I wish I could have seen that, just smashing Oz with it.
Just trying to swing it around. But it would literally just bounce off into the audience.
He just carries it to prove all the flat earthers wrong. That's the only reason he carries it around.
Yeah, there's some American there he should have had a flat earth, and he would have been balancing drinks on top of it.
Yeah.
Did Jim Ross
essentially a tray, Cameron? Is that
tray of gin and prosecco to the ring?
Keeping it
Jim
classy.
Ross mentioned his football playing record now.
We might have done. I just kind of tuned this match out, to be honest.
We'll get to some football in a little minute, though.
Well, I think he was just amateur. Maybe just amateur.
Yeah.
Football.
But obviously, as Al won't know, there's members of this podcast going to meet Bill Kazmaier.
What?
Euan's off to meet Bill Kazmaier.
What?
He's the commentator for World's Strongest Man, which is coming to Glasgow.
Is he? Right, because obviously he was the world's strongest man, and that's why WCW got him. And apparently, people stuff. I've read a few things that if they put a bit more effort into him and trained him a bit more, he looked all right in the ring for somebody who hadn't had much experience. He possibly could have been a bit better than he was. Yeah.
If I understood what Euan was saying last night properly, then there's a meet and greet afterwards as part of your ticket, and our Euan is off to meet Bill Kazmaier.
Oh,
we've requested that he ask about this match.
Yeah, we have requested. So, when you wrestled Oz at Halloween Havoc 91.
Well, that's the strange thing. Like, when you watch that match at the time, if you had to choose one of them to be a world champion or to go on to, have real big impact in the wrestling world, you're telling me you wouldn't have chose Bill Kazmaier, yeah?
Oh, yeah, of all those two, you'd be picking Bill Kazmaier, definitely, yeah.
That is true. I think my only highlight I've got written down is that I think there's at one point where Oz does like belly to back suplex on Kazmaier and near enough drops him on his head.
I have got here, yes, Oz horrible back suplex as Kaz nearly lands on his neck.
Yeah, yes. It's like thank God he was a bodybuilder because he needed those muscles around his neck to keep him alive.
Yeah, Jesus. I've got here another nothing match, and then Kaz impressively lifts up Oz for the torture rack, and then we're done.
I guess Luger's not using that at this point in time, or is he? Did they not mention that in commentary?
No, I
think he is.
He's using the. We'll come to later, but
we'll come to that when he's using.
Because the forearm comes later on because he hasn't had the motorcycle accident yet. Has he?
No, that's 92. I think it is.
So it does seem a bit gimmick infringing, but I don't think they mention it, and it is like it does come a bit out of nowhere. And
because they acknowledge in commentary that it's not a move they've seen him do before.
Yeah, they talk about him doing bear hugs, but a bear hug finisher, man, come on.
Oh, jeez, you can tell it's the early 90s.
Totally can.
Bear hug finishers.
And then my final comment is not so great Oz. Am I right? Not so great Oz. There you go. Right, so Euan, do you want to bullet point the rest of your matches?
Yes, I shall. So, the next match is a incredible spectacle of a match with former World's Strongest Man Bill Kazmaier taking on the mysterious Oz. This was a thing. Bill Kazmaier is a very strong gentleman. I don't know why this was on the pay-per-view, but never mind.
That'll do. Move on.
Moving on.
But so, like, how would you follow this marquee match of Oz versus Bill Kazmaier? The only way is with Van Hammer versus Doug Summers.
Yeah.
Doug Summers. Yeah,
Doug Summers, who doesn't even get an entrance, which probably tells you all you need to know about Doug Summers.
Well, how could you have an entrance when you got Van Hammer doing that guitar next swing thing? I mean, you have to respect that.
That's not the weirdest part of this entrance.
No, would you be referring to the guys with the jackhammers?
Yes.
Drilling some bricks.
Why?
Because it's rock and roll.
But it's like, why?
Because it's rock and roll.
But I don't understand why they're
because it's rock
using
and roll.
A jackhammer to go through one of the
because he's called Van Hammer and it sounds like jackhammer.
But surely, right? Right. This is an idea that not that they'll know it now, but should have really been saved for Goldberg,
possibly.
Halloween Havoc at some point in the future. And B, I don't get why they're. I could understand it if you were like somehow resurrecting someone from one of the graves in a kind of Halloween style thing, but you're not.
I don't. It doesn't make any kind of sense whatsoever. Although it makes more sense in the match. We'll give it that.
Well, yeah, as I've got here, Hammer kind of rushes through everything.
Yeah.
Until the brain buster that nearly fucks up.
Well, it's supposed to be a suplex. I don't think it's supposed to be a brain buster. I think it's supposed to be a suplex.
Well, yeah, it's probably supposed to be a suplex. He just falls on his ass.
It's like a springboard suplex with the ropes in it, and he just kind of just drops him on his head. But Doug doesn't seem like the best wrestler in the world because, like, doesn't he kind of go off the ropes and just runs into Van?
Yeah,
and then just kind of falls over into the corner at one point. It's like this isn't.
It's almost like make Van Hammer look good, but just.
But it's like thought.
Give some facts away if I could.
Oh, go on then.
The match before was when obviously Bill Kazmaier beat Oz in 4 minutes.
Obviously,
originally, of course, that match was Bill Kazmaier versus Cactus Jack. Now, do we think that would have went 4 minutes as well?
It's a tricky one because obviously Cactus is, whilst not, he's been like feuding with Sting. You know, he's been getting a little bit of juice behind him.
High up on this one, yeah.
Well, that was the original match before they swapped them for the Chamber. Speaking of substitutes, poor Doug Summers wasn't even supposed to be on the card. It was supposed to be Michael Hayes faking his injury with his arm. Now, he clearly wasn't injured, so why didn't they just get him in to take on Van Hammer?
I think he took one look at Van Hammer, like, practicing. He was like, I'm having no part of that.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, you're probably right.
I'm having no part of that whatsoever. Somebody else can deal with that. Get Doug in. Get Doug in the ring.
That's the sort of match that would feel cheated if you watched it on Saturday night main event or whatever it is. Like, what's it called? Is it WCW Saturday night? Is that what it's called at this moment in time?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
But I will say, I think both of you are kind of like underestimating just how cool that neck swing with the guitar is. Like, that's enough to sell the match, really.
It's not even plugged in, so why is he playing it, right?
And
here's my thing, right? Van Hammer is so obviously like a kind of Motley Crue hair metal kind of thing, isn't he?
Yeah. Well, they chucked him in just before Nirvana breaks, just to kind of,
Yeah, I was just what I was about to say. That gimmick is probably passe even now in 91.
It's like
fucking never mind's less than 6 months away.
Yeah, 4 or 5 years out of date, that is.
Yeah, I was going to say it's at least for, and you get like grunge will be taken over around about this time as well in America.
Yeah.
So it's like, why?
Because it's
WCW. Like Raven's gimmick will be like, cutting edge round about now and then in the next few years.
Yeah.
But not this.
Your boy Doug only started, when did he start wrestling? Like, debuted in 1971 and was in the AWA.
Christ.
He was a tag team with Playboy Buddy Rose, managed by Sherry Martel.
Playboy Buddy Rose was in the very first WrestleMania match.
He was. Yeah.
So yeah, he was. He beat. Oh my god! So he beat for the AWA World Tag Team Championship with him and Buddy Rose. They beat Kurt Hennig and Scott Hall via countout, and then went on to feud with the Midnight Rockers for the remainder of 1986.
Wow!
A little bit behind him, but obviously, looking at his physique, he's not wasn't a body guy, poor Doug.
Not really, no.
No. And then apparently this is his first pay-per-view match, and he spends it being dropped in his head by Van Hammer, so there you go.
Van Hammer versus Doug Summers. Inaugural WCW Light Heavyweight Championship match. Brian Pillman versus Richard
No
Morgan.
actual thoughts about Van Hammer versus Doug. That's it, just straight on.
It's Van Hammer and Doug Summers. What do you want from me?
Well, what I'd like to know is Van Hammer here in 1991. He's still in there in like 98, 99. I mean, is he getting any better?
Well, isn't he? It's weird.
He does. He's one of those WCW guys that seems to stick around for an abnormally long length of time.
All right. Are we ready to move on?
Always.
I think we're ready to move on.
We have the inaugural light heavyweight champion.
We do.
They say inaugural. They just say the first match, don't they? They don't say inaugural or kind of give it any kind of like gravitas. They just say it's the first one.
Why are we getting the little Timmy voice out? What you're about?
Well, little Timmy was a bit sad.
Oh no!
Little Timmy voice.
Little Timmy wants to know. He had a little question for Count Bischoff. This might be a spoiler, but I'm going to do it. Brian Pillman, the babyface who is in the final. Why is he only one to get a bye in the quarterfinals?
Because they wanted him in the main event.
Well, it's not very. Usually the heel will get the bye, and then everyone can go, "Aha, the heel's got a bye." But the face has got a bye, so it's like I don't get WCW logic. Like they don't do time cues, and the fucking heels win the coin toss every single year of War Games, right?
So it works, isn't it?
And then the logic like this just goes out the window. I don't quite understand. Or they're trying to give us the obvious stuff and then fool us, like, Pillman will get a bye. No one will expect him to get through. And it's like, unless I've just misread, which wouldn't surprise me. And actually, there was a wrestler called Bye in WCW around 1991. It was he's got to have a mask on, hasn't he? The Masked Bye.
Well, what's interesting, looking at the quarterfinal bracket, is you got in that one side is like Brian Pillman gets a bye. On the other side is Joey Maggs versus Bad Street.
Do you know who Bad Street is?
I was going to say Joey Maggs was Creature One. We saw him earlier on in the night.
Yeah, Bad Street was that guy dressed up as a chicken we saw a few shows back.
Oh my
Do you remember?
Fantasia.
Yeah, that was him. They had to change his name for copyright reasons.
And Arachnoman. You know what? I think Brad Armstrong might be the WCW Halloween Phantom, but we'll find out in a bit, won't we?
Yeah.
Because if it's like, we need some guy in a mask, get Brad Armstrong out. That's what it feels like.
Can we also point out that, like a couple of episodes ago, I was talking about weird positions in American football that keep coming up in wrestling commentary. We've got, like, Brian Pillman was a walk-on in Ohio. What the fuck is a walk-on in Ohio?
Oh, we're into the bit where like Jim Ross starts masturbating over American football again, aren't we?
Probably, yeah. Well, Jim Ross and his horn dog phase that we all like. If you go on Twitter these days,
Yeah. Nowadays is
I
about.
think he must have been told to not do it with women who he works with.
That's. I think everybody gets told that, don't they?
Well, yeah, but
That's more of a general rule rather than something specific to Jim
general,
Ross.
yes, obviously, it's always a good idea. Don't do it with women you work with.
Am I right in thinking here that we can't call him Ricky Morton because he's a heel, so he has to be called Richard Morton?
You're completely correct, because he's a part of the York Foundation, isn't he?
He's part of the York Foundation.
I mean, the computer doesn't help him at all, but it's still there, though.
Has that computer helped anyone? I mean...
Well, Terry Taylor earlier on the night was listening to it a lot.
Yeah. But what helps, though, is, like, at least if you're going to waffle somebody, a computer would do it better than that globe would, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
If you're gonna
especially an early 90s computer, yeah.
An early 90s laptop,
thing's a beast.
which he's got, yeah. I can imagine all the sort of 50k of memory on board that. Hey.
There we go.
Christ alive.
Let's get the word processor out to the 3-line screen. Let's go.
Let's go, yeah. It's going to be great.
So,
this heel run, by the way, was Morton's final run in WCW.
Oh, was it? Yeah.
He leaves about 3 months after this.
He goes to Smoky, doesn't he?
He goes to Smoky Mountain, yeah.
And he has a few little spells in WE as well.
Does he kick off like the Heavenly Bodies and that kind of Jim Crockett?
Yeah.
Yeah, like, because he's like one of Jim Cornette's favourite people.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, like, they're kind of the Midnight Express and that kind of stuff in the 80s. They were huge, weren't they? But I don't think it ever quite translated on a kind of wider TV level. But maybe it did, but we just didn't know because we were
not through here. We got the Rock and Roll Express versus Heavenly Bodies at Survivor Series 93.
Yeah.
I remember that, yeah.
But it was a bit odd because, again, I was 12 at the time and I was
who are these
13.
Guys?
And I was like, yeah, who are these guys? You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, And then the confusion at the end was like, oh, he's been thrown over the top rope. That would have been a disqualification where they're from. And then it all got confused. It's like, we'll get into that stupid rule. I'm sure we'll get into that stupid rule later on tonight.
We've mentioned it partly, but we'll definitely come back to it again.
Oh, yes.
But yeah, like but I think, like you said earlier, Al, like he's a natural babyface. He's not like
he's always come
across as a heel.
And obviously, he's a tag team wrestler as well. So this is a bit of a hard situation to put him in to a degree because I think he does a lot of rest holding and like kind of a little bit confused the pair of them really where to go with it because. Yeah, it's like he's always the babyface in peril, but now Pillman has to be the babyface in peril. It's a bit of a role reversal.
I think one of my notes here is like there's a surprising amount of headlocks in this match, considering it's Flying Brian.
Headlock Brian.
It's a decent back and forth contest, though. I quite enjoyed it from that sense.
Yeah.
It's not like the best match of the night in any stretch. Your Austin versus Rhodes is better, and your Eaton versus Taylor's better.
Yeah.
But it's still okay. The thing that ruins it for me is the fact that they cut to referee during the winning pinfall and you completely miss it.
That is true.
That's the thing I was talking about earlier on when I was talking about we'll bring up referee again because it is the most stupid production decision.
Does referee make an appearance in any other pay-per-views, do we know? I don't think even I can look that up.
But there's like before that they do like they do like a flash cut to the referee cam for like about 2 seconds or less than a second, and it's like really kind of seizure inducing. It's like, can you not?
I can see why they wanted to put it in there so they could get close up.
Yeah,
but I think it's an idea which kind of now extends to the AEW do it a lot with having cameras at the turnbuckles.
But that makes more sense because
that makes far more sense.
Because
for a while you were getting like cameras like on the ropes above the ring. It's like at the start of WrestleMania 10 where you had Brett and Owen and you had like a complete bird's eye view of the ring for them, and I think that's quite cool.
Yeah, it would probably work better these days when you've got like a better camera. You got like GoPros that give like a much better quality image. Oh
yeah, if you were able to do like a GoPro and like all that kind of stuff, that like looked quite cool.
Yeah, but the camera they got there, it's like nah. The only thing it helps with is in the Chamber Horror match where you can actually see what's going on with like random folks around the ring because it's so busy full of stuff.
Yeah.
Well, one thing I will say about the light heavyweight, it wasn't really what they wanted. They would obviously get it later on with the cruiserweights and got the guys from Mexico and stuff. But this was kind of like just two slightly smaller guys still doing the rest of the moves the big guys do.
Mm-hmm.
And you know,
it wasn't separated enough, was it, from the kind of...
The commentary team just went on about how Brian Pillman can't beat anyone else in the other division, so he's just going to come into this division.
He's just going to have his own belt.
Yeah, you know, it was like, oh, wait to put your product over.
This match fucking ruled everything. I loved this match. This was very, very fun.
Is this your match of the pay-per-view?
I think at this point, yeah, definitely. I think at this point, this just overtakes Austin and... Sorry.
Even if they're fighting over the small gold belt, yeah?
Oh, I mean, if you're going to bring size into it, then, you know, that's a personal question.
Are we going to get onto my favourite match soon?
What, the Halloween Phantom versus Tom Zenk?
That's my favourite match.
Oh, no.
So, Tom Zenk comes out.
Yeah.
And then we get...
Having not taken a shower tonight and been chased by Missy Hyatt.
He's not running to Missy Hyatt on the back. And then we get the Halloween Phantom coming out with this kind of half black-white face mask and a cape, and he's walking like he's about to...
It's like he's hiding his face with his cape and his little hat.
Yeah. He's got his hat on. He's all kind of like hunched over with his like face half hidden by the cape.
It's not well done for the TV audience, but I think it's well done for the people in attendance, sort of thing, because they spoil it a bit by really zooming in on the guy's face pretty much straight away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you see his mustache, and you see the fact that the face mask is like in his mouth like a ball gag, which isn't the best look, is it?
No, not really.
Little Timmy.
No, Christ.
Why did you have to mention Little Timmy after I mentioned ball gags?
Well, Little Timmy was like...
Al's got a basement.
Why? Keep this clean, cut them bits out. Right. Why is why we're doing a Halloween Phantom match with Little Timmy Shed? Why we're doing Count Bischoff? Why are we doing a Halloween Phantom? We all know it's just going to be Ric Flair at the end of the day, so what's the point of doing it? We did all this shit last year at Starrcade with Black Scorpions and stuff. Why are we doing it again?
I know your secret, Sting.
Inevitably, the crowd all think this is just going to be a complete arse of a time again, and it's going to be some ridiculous swerve where the Phantom is going to be Tom Zenk.
I think the crowd kind of wake up like when the Phantom comes to the ring and he murders Zenk with a clothesline.
Yeah, he's not wasting any time. You know,
just kills him.
I like that. Like, nope, not wasting any time. Let's just trot the guy, get the match over and done with.
Yeah, and then we get a finishing move that looks awfully familiar.
Well, what gets me is when Tony Schiavone goes, but whose side is he on?
Like, somebody, he kind of says, like, somebody might have a rude awakening.
That right there, there's few signature moves in the sport, and one is called, if I can say this, Jim, the rude awakening.
And then the mystery Phantom just kind of slinks off all mysterious again.
He does. Yep. I think the reveal probably should have been done then.
Yeah, of course it should have been done then.
Yeah.
Of course it should have been done then.
But we've got to wait. Despite like everyone pretty much knowing how the Phantom is, we've got to wait for the big reveal later on.
That was definitely a thing. I won't go into detail because obviously Al will cover this in great detail, I imagine, considering the identity of the Halloween Phantom will be revealed.
Yeah, because we've got to get to the marquee match of the Patriots versus the Enforcers. Like, the first thing I've written out is when the Patriots come out, being builders from the WCW Special Forces, I'm like, how are these guys champions? I know it's like the US tag belts, and that's kind of, not as prestigious as the main belts, but like, why would you put the belts on that guy and Fire Guy Chip? What's his name again? Fireside Chip?
Firebreaker
Chip, there you go.
I thought they were leftovers from the Village People.
They look that, yeah.
So yeah,
Todd
Champion to give him his name, which to be fair is
he's a champion. There you go. It's WCW.
Yeah, well, it's
of course he's a champion.
Of course he is. It makes complete sense now.
Chip wasn't on fire, but there you go.
Oh my god! I mean, it's just. Oh, apparently he had a tryout in 1998, and he defeated Barry Horowitz, but they didn't pick him up for some reason.
Pick Barry Horowitz up though, so it worked out alright for one.
It worked alright in the end.
Yeah,
But, like, he's in it for 1 year. And then he leaves.
Well, this is kind of a bit like an extended squash in places.
Because, like, you got these two guys out wearing, like, ridiculous gimmick clothes, and then, like, you got Double A Arn Anderson and Larry Zbyszko coming out. Just like, who are these two?
A combined age of 107 or something. But actually, no, that's quite generous for a combined age. Would there be 50 something each then? That's not as exaggerated as I wanted to make it. There you go.
my notes about this match, right? Have you noticed how the crowd don't give a fuck, even though this is essentially a double title match?
Not at all.
This should be like a big deal, but it's really fucking not.
No.
There's a moment early on where Arn bumps for a Chip shoulder charge. So Chip runs into him, Arn flat back bumps, and then Firebreaker Chip just kind of stands there and doesn't follow up at all. And it's almost like there was a whole bit to come after that. And he just kind of goes, "Oh, Arn's on it. I've knocked Arn on his arse."
Did I mean to do that?
And then his brain can't sort of like work out what to do next. And Arn just basically has to get up and just sort of walk to his own corner and tags Zbyszko in. And it's just like, what is that?
Well, I think the highlight is the bit where Arn Anderson starts complaining to the referee that Chip is too oily. And that he can't, grab him to do moves.
He's called Chip. Of course he's greasy. I mean, come on, it's WCW.
Sorry, you're completely correct.
Well, yeah. Yep.
You're completely
Todd
correct.
Champion also manages to have 2 occasions in the match where he misses a blind tag on his opponent. You know that thing where like Arn and Zbyszko have like a blind tag, and then
he's a champion singular. Like he's not used to being in a tag team. That's the trouble with Todd.
Yeah. Thankfully, Arn Anderson spinebusters Chip and gets a 3 count. And it's this mediocrity is over with.
I forgot to mention earlier that I did have a Van Hammer fact, or a little bit of Van Hammer research. So I'll drop back into. He had a tryout in '93. He had 2 matches as a tryout. Do you know who the 2 people he faced and lost to?
Are we talking in WWF? Yeah.
WWF in 1993.
Oh, okay.
Did he?
Yeah.
Right.
93, right. Who's he lost?
So, July 1993, he had a tryout match at a WWF Superstar taping, wrestling as a heel. He was defeated by
1, 2, 3 Kid?
Nope.
My Janae?
Nope.
Hang on. I want to get this because we'll go through the roster, but I'll get it. 93. So it's got to be. Saying that. It could just be a big guy that he absolutely squashed. I don't know which way.
No, Superstars. He worked as a heel, but he was defeated by, so he lost as a heel.
So a face is who beat them. So I was right with the Kid. So tell me that. It can't be that. Owen Hart?
Nope.
You're right.
Scott Steiner?
Nope.
Rick Steiner?
Nope.
You're right about Jannetty. You would have been in it at that point in time.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Mr. Perfect?
Nope. You're aiming very much too high on the card.
Oh, okay. When you said Tatanka, Bob Holly's not there yet. Barry Horse.
Bob Backlund.
No.
Bob Backlund's a good shout, no?
No. Should I tell you?
Virgil.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
The following day, he was working at a babyface at a wrestling challenge taping. So this time he's wrestling as a babyface, and he was defeated by
Bastian Booker.
No, but you're close.
Bam Bam.
IRS.
No.
Close with Bastian Booker. Damien Demento.
Yes.
Yes.
So his 2 tryout matches, he was fed to Virgil and then Damien Demento.
Fucking hell. Oh man. Did they just do those to take the piss?
He must have done.
Come on. Jesus, man.
Back to back as well. One day then the next. I mean, that's a tough week at work, isn't it?
That is so bad. Oh no.
Poor Van Hammer. To give Virgil a run out on Superstars, like what would he been building to at that point?
Oh Christ.
Oh, we need to heat Virgil up. Get him on the show with Van Hammer.
Oh no, that'd just be Jesus wept. But anyway.
There you go.
Oh Christ.
There's me Van Hammer fact.
We then had a strange match, the Enforcers versus the Patriots for the WCW World Tag Team Championship. A epic match that goes a whole 10 minutes.
It's a weird one, that one. I don't understand. I don't
understand what the Patriots did to get this title shot, because I don't really think the Patriots are very good.
But they're already US tag team champions, so why are they in the match? That was my point
as well.
With the other people. But I don't understand. And
I don't get it.
Was it they're from WCW Special Forces?
Yeah, something like that. This was a weird era of WCW. I mean, this is the prequel to Major Guns and other terrible puns.
Oh dear.
Moving on.
Are we ready to move on to the next segment?
Yeah, so we got the thing that should have happened about 5 minutes before.
We should have not had to bother sitting through this shitey tag match
It's
to get to this.
a shame. It was a great reveal as well. Just
It was brilliant.
Do it after the match. Because it's killed anyway. Everyone saw his finishing move, and whoever didn't cotton on, fucking Schiavone, just told everybody.
So Count Bischoff is out with Paulie Dangerously.
Yep.
Who apparently has been sacked.
Yep.
He's not commentary, and he's declaring war on WCW. He's going to take away your heroes.
Do you know that was real? He was suspended for supposedly leaking stuff, but he I think there was no evidence or whatever. But yeah, I thought he leaked the story to somebody. Can't remember the ins and outs.
You do feel like there's like a nice edge to his promo when he's giving it about taking away the heroes and bankrupting the company and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I have down here. It's like going to go. The irony is when he says bankrupting WCW is the fact that Eric Bischoff is in this group, and he'll be
I didn't even consider
doing that quite spectacularly in a few years' time.
About literally 10 years' time, would it be? Near enough?
Yeah.
Near enough?
Just under. Yeah, just under.
Wow, look at that! How things happen. That's crazy, isn't it?
Yep.
And then the Phantom mysteriously just reappears.
Yes.
And then he takes his mask off, and it is Rick Rude.
It's Rick Rude who has to do the first part of his promo shouting against his own music.
Yeah, I don't know what sort of volume they got on that thing, but yeah.
What a coup.
That's right, people. It's Ravishing Rick Rude. And anybody who knows Ravishing Rick Rude knows that all I care about is myself, my women, and my money.
Obviously, this is like the dodgiest kind of introduction. It could have been way, way better by having it after the match, and we've already said. Yeah. And it's all based on bloody something about Phantom of the Opera and all that shite. But this is the start of the Dangerous Alliance.
Yeah. Gotta be, isn't it?
One of probably the best heel groups in that time period.
Yeah, talking about like Hall of Fame groups, who's in that? You got Stone Cold, obviously.
Oh, Steve Austin ends up in it. Rick Rude's in it.
Yeah, is it Zbyszko in it as well?
Zbyszko ends up in it as well. Arn's in it as well, isn't he?
Yeah, Arn and Zbyszko, yeah, Bob Eaton.
But
Medusa's in it as well.
But she's there, isn't she, when she comes out? Oh, there you go. So Paulie Dangerously, Arn Anderson, Bobby Eaton, Larry Zbyszko, Medusa, Michael P.S. Hayes as a manager, Rick Rude and Steve Austin. It's a good promo, and it's like, it's the start of probably like the best kind of heel stable of the time.
Yeah, I'd say so. It's daft, but it is the start of one of the best ones.
There's nothing really comparable like at the same time in WWF, is there? Like kind of because like they were kind of phasing out the managers at that point, weren't they? The 91, 92 kind of time.
Yeah, I mean, I think sort of WWF equivalent of that time, and it's phasing out right now would be Heenan. I was about to say the Heenan family.
Yeah, they were there. People were like not too long till he's on full time commentary. So yeah, the managers were kind of being
so they kind
moved to the background, then, weren't they? So
one thing I did forget to say was the last match of Arn Anderson and Larry Zbyszko. I don't know if they mentioned it on commentary, but I found a great name for them.
Go on.
A to Z. That's not my work. I did read it, but I just thought, what a clever name that is. I like that name. Still haven't thought of a big Josh Beer News name, but anyway.
No, never mind.
So next we have a promo for the main event, which I'm not sure if you noticed this, does mention that Ron Simmons played American football.
Apparently he does, yeah, or did.
I don't know if you caught that, and him walk around a football stadium with like his own face painted onto the walls.
It was like watching a low-budget Rocky, I felt.
You mean he's like running up the steps?
It's like, he's training for football, so he's going to win this wrestling match.
Yeah.
Ron Simmons got to talk about football, lots of weight training.
All the weight training, lots of like arm lifting up weights and stuff. Ready for his main event, which is Ron Simmons versus Scotland's favourite son, Lex Luger.
Govern's favourite son.
Sorry, Govern's favourite son. Sorry, I forgot the clarification from yesterday, Cameron. I do apologise.
Clarification, yes, please get it right. Yes. The best wrestler, by the way.
Yeah, and of course, because it's the main event, out comes Dusty Rhodes with Ron for no reason whatsoever.
Because he's got to be in the main event.
I haven't actually got in touch with Lex Luger yet to ask him what he thinks about the appointment of Philippe Clement.
If you could.
But I'll have to,
Is Lex on Twitter or X or Instagram? Or something?
Yeah.
There you go. Crack on.
Yeah, trust me, me and Lex are like best buds.
Social media manager, crack on with it. Come on.
Yeah, we'll crack on.
What a voice clip.
I was asking.
What a voice clip.
Yeah.
What happens next is little Timmy. He goes,
why is little Timmy the thread of this second half of the podcast? I don't understand.
Little Timmy, he's sad again. Well, Count Bischoff's come along, and he stole all our giant letters from the school. And he's took the L, so now I'm only called Little Timmy. And he then uses them to, for no reason at all, put Luger's name on the stage.
In between all the gravestones, yeah?
Yes. Another great production value by WCW there. Any
fire? There was a certain hands-on nature before the Titantron became a thing.
Any fireworks? No, we'll just
No, because they would have set the letters on fire if he'd done that.
Firebreaker Chip is in the building.
People will remember his first name. People remember his first name, but they might have forgot his second name.
It is
tricky. Put it.
Yeah, it's a tricky name to remember. Isn't it?
I think if you just had Lex, it would have been too easy to vandalise.
Well, somebody may also think, wait a minute, is this the bad guy off Superman? We better spell his name out, just in case people get confused.
We don't get caught for copyright, do we? Arachnoman was a bit close to the knuckle.
I might be expecting Gene Hackman in the main event.
Just expecting Gene Hackman to come.
Comes out playing Lex Luger.
Ron Simmons versus Gene Hackman in tonight's main event.
Could you imagine? I'll tell you what, though, I bet 70s Gene Hackman would have done that. He would have been ready for that. But he's like,
probably.
You got Dusty on Lex's side, on Ron's side, and then Lex brings out Hardy Race and Mr. Hughes.
Yeah, I can't help thinking like Luger's in the middle of some wrestling void with one of the greatest behind him and one of the most useless in front of him.
Oh, it is Ed.
It's like which force is pulling Luger,
And then one of my highlights of the match is when they talk about, we're going to go right into the ring and going to hear the beginning of the match, and then you can't hear anything.
We're going to take our cameras hopefully inside the ring so you can hear referee Nick Patrick give the instructions to these men.
Mr. Hughes, you got to go to the back. You have to go.
Well, my favourite sentence is, listen, Hughes, you're out of here because you're going to stink the match up, so just leave. Do you remember hearing that sentence? No?
I feel like I did, but I don't know.
You'll just bodge some interference, just go in the back, save for that way.
Again with the football references though, because it's like Luger is an offensive linesman, Simmons is a defensive linesman. They had some real nervy times at practice. It's like, right, okay.
God, Joe, you can't.
Nothing.
Can you just keep them to being wrestlers and just focus on that for 5 minutes?
There always seems to be this weird reminder about how they used to play football. It's like going to go, well, why did they stop?
Used to play a real sport.
Yeah, remember this?
That's what it's like, isn't it?
To be fair to Luger though, and I think me and Al were talking about this over lunch a few days ago. Luger gets a bad rap a lot of the time, generally.
Yeah. Even though he held the Samoa... Well, no, he didn't hold the Samoa trophy, did he?
He won it at SummerSlam.
No, he thought he had, but Hogan stole it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, generally I think Luger gets a bit of a bad rap because he wasn't a fan of the industry to begin with and all this jazz. And he was essentially a bodybuilder that just got brought into wrestling.
Yeah.
But in watching his matches more closely on the process of this podcast, especially in the last 6 months or so, Luger, whilst not maybe the most technically gifted wrestler on the planet, at least has a lot of ability as far as actual performance goes. I will point out in this match the fact that Simmons scores the first fall with a spine buster. And Luger's selling it. Yeah, But Luger is selling that spine buster like death for a good sort of 10, 15 minutes.
He sells
afterwards.
it for pretty much the rest of the match. Like his back's always like,
It's a shame we've already seen the spine buster 10 minutes ago, but never mind. We'll see it again.
Yeah.
But I think what helped him is that like he had lots of feuds with like Sting and Ric Flair and that kind of like in the main event position. I think he had. I'm like, it's tricky because I think the last one we watched, he was in that tag team with Sting, and I thought that was probably like his best match that we've seen him in.
Yeah,
and I wouldn't put this above it because I think it's just like I don't know if this is like the pace of his matches or if it's just the kind of methodical nature of his style. Like it doesn't seem to necessarily know when to kind of kick it into another gear unless he's with somebody who knows that. Does that make sense?
I think what they've all said about Luger is he plays it which is a good thing. I'm going to say he plays it very safe. He doesn't like to do anything that might endanger his opponent. That's what a few people said about him. He likes to. Yes, it may be a little bit methodical, but I think in a way he wants to do what he's used to, so he doesn't hurt anybody, which we've certainly saw other people do in the past.
Yeah, but I think a methodical style works for a heel. You know what I mean? Like that kind of like not being flashy, just kind of working a guy over sort of thing, which he does to Ron in this match, isn't he? Once they kind of get past that the second thing, he turns into like a big cheating bastard and he just starts cheating all over the place.
I think we should mention his attire.
What?
Okay.
Well, isn't he wearing like babyface blue for some reason?
Yeah. Do you think he'd be wearing black, being a heel?
He's like, he just doesn't know, does he? He's literally in these nice bright blue trunks, but that's again what you would expect the face to wear. Yeah. Not Luger. You're right. Playing black, which he did wear around that period, I'm sure he did, was more fitting for him.
I think that's probably something to kind of feed into it as well, because like last time we watched, he was like pretty much a huge babyface alongside Sting in a tag team, and now like he's back to being a heel again. I think he had that kind of the Big Show flip flop thing to him, where maybe like there was one
killed his career to a degree.
Yeah, he has pretty much an entire history of the bookers refusing to pull the trigger on him. It's like his heel run in this one gets curtailed, cut short. Obviously, the obvious one is Vince changes his mind in '93 and doesn't give him the world title. But he still has some major parts to play in wrestling history. I mean, he's like the first guy that crosses the line in the Monday Night Wars.
Yeah, totally.
Because obviously he walked out on... He's probably... I think if I remember rightly, Lex Luger appearing on Nitro in 1995 is the reason why wrestlers today have a 90-day no-compete.
Yeah, but like that image of him coming out when it was like the previous night he was on Raw, or like that night he was on Raw, or whatever it was, but like that was like, oh yeah, that's the kind of first heat, isn't it? That kind of builds the Monday Wars up into a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I like Luger. He's properly good. And he does... Again, we can file him under wrestlers that come across like decent people when they're online.
And like, he works a decent match with Ron in this one.
Yeah, it's really good. I mean, Euan was saying in the first half of the show that this is one of his favourite matches of the night. This is, and he is right.
This match is wonderful. I love this match, and not just because we also had the two men in the ring, but we also had Harley Race and Dusty Rhodes at ringside being batshit crazy.
I was going to say, isn't it because it's got Scotland's favourite son, Lex Luger's in it?
Yes, Rangers fan Lex Luger.
You say Scotland's favourite son. I think it's more Govin's favourite son.
Which, to be fair, that could change on a weekly basis, given it's Govan.
Well, yeah, it depends on if we have the traditional November managerial hunt. Don't get me started on this.
I sense that could be a rabbit hole we don't have time to go down.
No, we don't go down. I'm happy at the minute, but I'm just hopeful we don't have to do that again.
So this now become your favourite match of the card, then, Euan?
Yeah, I think the main event is my favourite match of the card. Yeah, I think so.
Ow. For a portrayal of a hard-hitting, athletic contest between two men of equal ability, this is up there.
Let me just have a little thing, because we've mentioned a lot tonight about...
Not little Timmy.
Well,
please not.
Well,
isn't it past his bedtime?
Little Timmy's really contributed to tonight's show. I think you've been very harsh against him, Cap.
He has. You've let him out the basement, though, haven't you?
We'll cut that bit as well. All right. WCW logic. We've been through the the time. There's no time mentioned in this, despite it going quite a long time. And there's no coin toss at the start of the match to do that. So, in a more WCW backwards logic, we now have the crowd cheering for Luger to win 2 falls in a row to retain his title. You know, put the heel at a disadvantage. What a great way to get the audience behind this match by having Ron Simmons take the first fall. Surely Luger should have took the first fall and Simmons the second. Why would Simmons take the first fall?
Because WCW?
Yeah, it's a bit weird. Because
it's not as weird as the second fall, though.
What we see, what's about to be coming in the most ridiculous spot known to mankind, I think.
I was referring to the over-the-top DQ where Luger jumps at Ron and just kind of slides off him over and goes over the top rope, and the referee calls that a DQ. Because Ron
he
threw him over the top rope.
He literally throws himself over the top rope.
Even though, going back a bit to the Steve Austin-Dustin Rhodes match, where Rhodes clotheslines Austin over the top rope, which is apparently fine.
I just don't know why it was ever.
But this here, where Ron, I don't think Ron even picks up Luger. He just kind of is there while Luger jumps at him.
The whole spot's messed up because, Harley Race, I think is supposed to be holding him or something like that. But Dusty Rhodes gets so confused and comes over and starts beating up Race. However, that mucks up the spot. And then Simmons and Luger have to kind of delay the spot until Race is back in place again. Yeah, Dusty Rhodes has to be in the limelight.
I get the idea, your cheating heel cheats his way to a pinfall, but surely there's better ways of doing it.
And he's holding Simmons there for no reason. And you're right, Luger comes, and obviously you can't show Simmons ducking because that makes him intentionally doing it. So it's Luger just cross bodies him. And you're right, just bounces off him and goes over the ropes.
DQ. It's no.
Such a stupid. Having that rule. I mean, we've made fun of all the stupid WCW rules tonight.
Yeah.
But that's an atrocious one. Did WCW ever run battle royals? It's they just
they also did World War III, didn't they?
The disqualification battle royal. Is that what that was?
A battle royal, but you can't throw somebody over the top rope. It just goes on forever.
Dusty Rhodes had that written down somewhere, didn't he? He's booked the disqualification battle royal.
Got to be in there somewhere. What the only good thing that comes out of that is when they come out for the third fall, Luger comes out bleeding and just starts beating the crap out of Ron, and Ron's firing up, and that really kicks the match into another gear, which is good. But to get there, did you have to do the stupid DQ finish?
It does lead to one of Dusty Rhodes' greatest piece of advice, though.
What's he talking about? How do you win?
When it's 1-1 and he's talking to Ron Simmons in the corner, we pin him by being on the offense.
Yeah, how do you pin him? By being on the offense.
Ingenious advice.
And I think it was followed up by, "Don't worry, Ron, we'll get you in that Chamber of Horrors match next year." I think that's what it was followed up by. Yeah,
Christ.
I say it is a good match, and then
I thought it flew by. I rewound it because I'm there's no way this has been 19 minutes. It's been cut. Either the time's wrong I've read, or it's been cut on the network. So I rewound it back. I'm no, that was a very compared to some of the crap I had to sit through. That's been a very brisk 19 minutes. Yeah,
it's really enjoyable. The main event's really good.
My other thought was there's a suplex at one point. I think Lex hit suplex, and I just kind of thought, how come Lex Luger never had a suplex as a finisher? Because it'll be the suplex.
Suplex.
Oh, right. Yeah.
You had the perfect plex. You could have had the superplex. Superlex. You know what I mean?
Superlex.
It would have worked. I don't know. Anyway,
that would have kind of worked. Yeah.
Just a random thought into the end. They go outside. Ron runs into the ring post because
he does a football stance, 3-point stance, Duggan style, and then Luger ducks it, and then he ends up ramming his shoulder at the turnbuckle. Despite the fact that Simmons had been pretty much battering Luger for 3 minutes before that.
Yeah,
that seems to be the turning point.
He does his shoulder in, and then Lex gets him up in his pile driver, the attitude adjustment.
What move? It's not the attitude. It looks different to the attitude adjustment. I don't know.
Well, it's called on commentary the attitude adjuster.
You're trying to say John Cena lifted that name. I mean, to be fair, John Cena used to call it the FU. He didn't want to call it the attitude adjustment. But I had no idea that was lifted from WCW. No idea.
What a callback that was from John Cena to Govern's favourite wrestler.
like Lex Luger couldn't get the attitude adjustment over, but bloody John Cena did, yeah.
I mean, but it's not the best looking pile driver in the world because Ron kind of comes down on Lex's leg.
He does kind of like get Lex's knee ends up crunched in between the mat and his back of his head,
But that's enough for Lex to get the pin, and there you go.
Yeah, Lex it kind of comes out of nowhere a little bit, but...
And if I remember correctly, he gets the 3 count, and then balloons and streamers start coming from the ceiling.
And then Randy Savage appears from nowhere and hoists him up on his shoulders.
Exactly ran all the way from New York or whatever, You did it, Lex, you did it.
The Lex Express smashes through the wall and just comes up to the ring.
The streamers and stuff probably came down after the second fall because that was a DQ. That's like winning by count out, isn't it? So they probably did the streamers for the second one.
Such a dumb. It's a great match, but that second fall is so dumb.
Yeah, I just think
I don't think it doesn't quite takes it out of you, but it's like, could you not think of a better way to finish?
Even if they went for the old suplex in the ring and Race grabbed his ankle, that sort of finish.
Yeah. If you've got the guys out there, they should interfere in one of the falls.
It works in the way that it's kind of it kind of works in the fact that it's like Luger the heel getting an equalizer because of a really kind of dodgy decision kind of thing. I get that, but visually it doesn't look quite right.
Good. And speaking of things don't look good visually, we get the typical WCW finish of a wide shot of the ring with people filing out of the arena.
Yeah, I never understand why they do this. They say the typical WCW pay-per-view cooldown. Why show the arena nearly empty?
Yeah. It makes sense because you always the big, especially this kind of time, was Hulk Hogan in the ring cheering with a crowd behind him.
Correct. Well, since the heels again, since the heels went over, send your crowd unhappy. That's they've got nothing to cheer, have they?
No, I'll give you that. They're just filing out quietly out of the arena, kind of that was it.
Little Timmy's filing out there. He's very sad about this pay-per-view, I'll tell you that.
I didn't realise Little Timmy was in attendance. Was that when he was talking to Count Bischoff?
He got some tickets off Count Bischoff to commentate for all the crap he's put him through. To be fair, he only got them halfway through the show, so he only saw the second 2 matches.
Oh, bless.
He didn't want to watch the Halloween Phantom. He was convinced it was Ric Flair again. So he was, despite him being a WF, he's like, nope, it's definitely Ric Flair.
So there we go. That was the spookiest of all pay-per-views. We've seen people cutting up bricks with building equipment. We've seen a man die, being electrocuted.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen the Halloween Phantom reveal himself as something much better gimmick-wise.
Yes.
And a man carry a literal globe. What a pay-per-view that was.
It's an event. As I've kind of said in the first half of this, we've done a lot of WCW pay-per-views around about this time. And whilst they have a propensity for leaning towards the ridiculous.
Yeah.
In this case, a fucking Chamber of Horrors match, which wastes God knows how much talent. But when the wrestling actual in-ring product is good in these WCW pay-per-views, it's really, really bloody good.
Yeah. It's that weird kind of I think you said about there's always that kind of, I think I used the word yesterday, that dichotomy where it's I think WWF was kind of struck with this as well. It's you've got the kind of, not realistic, but kind of down-to-earth fighting, kind of keeping it kind of in the ring and keeping it real between the two guys, and then you got people like phantoms flying about and people being electrocuted and the Undertaker bringing down lightning in the ring and stuff, and then you think about even in towards the end of the decade when it's everybody thinks WWE was NWO, they still got Glacier, they still got Sub-Zero comes into the ring, doesn't he, with his mystical ice powers. It's they can never get away from just being let's have something weird going on because it's wrestling and we can get away with something being a little bit weird.
Which arguably in WCW even leads up to things like, fucking David Arquette winning the world title.
Yeah. That is as weird that is as bizarre as the Chamber of Horror match.
That is still bizarre. It's like whenever he appears on WWE television and in the crowd at Raw, and it's always David Arquette, former WCW world champion. You're yeah, that's true, isn't it?
So, where are we going to put this on the table?
Oh, before we do it,
Oh,
I've got the best I could come up with in the time period.
Oh, no. What's little Timmy doing now?
Well, no, little Timmy's gone home. He's fine.
It's fine.
Is he in the basement now?
He's back down the well.
We're cutting them bits. Right, it's, I've got my name.
Oh, Buffalo Owls down in the basement with him again.
Right, we're cutting that bit as well. I've got
Silence of the Lambs, in case you wonder. I don't want to suggest the bit with Buffalo Bill's parading himself in front of the camera. I don't want to think about Al doing that.
Right,
No.
we're cutting all these bits out. So
yes, totally will. Don't worry about it.
You better. I've got me name for PN News and Big Josh.
Oh, why?
Okay.
We can call them the Lumber Raps.
Or you just call them Big News?
Lumber Raps.
Lumber Raps. No.
Because he's a lumberjack and PN News raps.
Lumber Raps.
Yeah, I'm trying to work out where Lumber Raps. Right.
Lumberjack, but it's like raps. Lumber raps.
It's you come up with better than you come up with better than
Big News. There you go. Big News.
Big News. That doesn't count.
PN News and Big News.
Works better. I'm still on like trees making newspaper.
You call them Big News and you change their gimmicks to be like journalists. They come out with like the kind of journalist hats with "scoop" written in the hat.
That would be amazing.
They kind of start talking like New York guys. Hey kid.
All the crowd would be like scoop, scoop,
yeah,
scoop.
Exactly. Scoop. And do you know what their finisher is? A double scoop slam.
Nice.
There you go.
Very Polo Promotions.
Thank you. So when we discussed this briefly with Euan yesterday, he suggested that this Halloween Havoc could go down towards the WCW ghetto, towards the bottom. I don't want a number, Euan, but can I get like a range where ideally you'd like the pay-per-view to go?
Let me have a look at the list of lists.
Just so we can factor that into our thinking when we do the official one tomorrow.
So the highest WCW show we have is Beach Blast 92, which this show is going to be very much under.
Just to compare to the other Halloween Havocs, they are numbers 40 and 41.
I think there's enough good to put this beyond Halloween Havoc 96. I don't think it's enough though to put it beyond Flair for the Gold, unfortunately. I think it's going to slot in the number 40 for me.
Wow, you're thinking right, like, I suppose Flair for the Gold's got the Hardy Race Ric Flair main event, hasn't it?
Yep. It's also got
Mafia Don Hardy Race is just like, I'm going to end him.
It's also got Past His Bedtime, Tony Schiavone, the camera that falls over. There's a lot of good in this show.
And
I don't think it'd be fair to put it above that, to be honest. So, yeah, I would say probably there, which unfortunately does bring it into the graveyard of WCW shows.
Well, that makes sense because it's a Halloween special.
Yeah, well, he said he liked it, and then he kind of like, by the time he put it on the league table, he realised it was kind of far down.
Yeah.
I mean, as a show, it's okay. The Chamber of Horrors match, you can kind of just poke fun at, because it's renowned as being one of the worst gimmick matches ever.
I think what hurts that is there's no kind of build or reason for it. It's just a load of guys chucked into it.
It's a Halloween match, and let's just throw people into it.
Yeah.
And it's the actual quality of the match is also dire.
Yeah. And like the lowest Halloween Havoc is at like number 40, which is just below Flair for the Gold.
Probably enjoyed it more than Flair for the Gold.
What's next on it?
Above that is Starrcade 1990 with the Wrestling World Cup.
Okay, what's after that?
Probably enjoyed it more than that.
Starrcade 92.
Right, so all these WCW ones just all together?
They're in a big clump at the bottom, yeah. And then just above that is the Wrestling Classic.
Oh, no, it's not beating the Wrestling Classic.
I enjoyed this more than the Wrestling
Classic. Oh, come on. It's bloody bollocks. I enjoy it more than that.
Yeah, the Wrestling Classic is, it's total bollocks.
The fury in Al's voice then. And then it's the big event.
Enjoyed it more than that.
Oh, piss off.
And then it's... and it's the Battle Royal at the Royal Albert Hall.
Oh.
What I would say there is that the Samurai Bar Trophy isn't defended on this card, so I think it immediately puts it below the Battle Royale at the Royal Albert Hall.
No, I think no, because the Royal Albert Hall show is essentially a glorified house show.
Oh, the way Cameron's going to be better than WrestleMania 8 by the time we finish.
No, up higher. What's next?
WrestleMania 4.
Oh, it's not as good as WrestleMania 4. No, I'd leave it better than the Battle Royal Albert Hall, but worse than WrestleMania.
What
4.
position is that now? 7th?
that'll be the 34th best pay-per-view.
I'll put it there. Go on.
I'm
agreeing with that. Against it.
I do think it is better. It's better than the big event.
Not having it.
I'm waiting for Al to argue the bit, and he's not.
Well, yeah, I'll just give in. I'm outnumbered. What's the point there? What's the point there? Give you
That's a very defeated attitude to take.
Old classic wrestling, and fucking Count Bischoff in his cardboard house.
Would little Timmy not have given? If little Timmy give up, he's never going to get scratching past that door, is he?
He's never going to get past. No, little Timmy.
Right, we're cutting that bit.
I need to make a note about to remember to cut out all these bits referring to Al's psycho, like madman basement.
Yes, some of us have a professional qualification.
Yeah.
Well, that precludes you from having a crazy basement.
Well, it sort of forbids me to what Cameron's suggesting, yeah.
Surely normal things forbid you for that. Normal civilized behaviour forbids a crazy basement.
I'd like to point out to the GOC that is just a joke on my behalf. And that at no point has Mr. Alan Milburn, GOC registration number insert here, have anything to do with any basement. In fact, he hasn't even got a basement.
He isn't known as Buffalo Bill Al.
No.
Nothing at all like that.
Please make sure all that is...
I'm sure all the rumours are false.
For the love of God.
Strenuously deny anything.
He chooses not to answer the question in a way that would incriminate himself.
Yes. If he's going to wonder why we're still talking about it, I will point out that he brought little Timmy into this in the first place.
Yeah, but not for your purposes.
For our purposes? Hold on. Una memento, por favor. No one asked little Timmy to join us. He was dragged by you.
Yes, but you know what? It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
Do you know what?
Right.
Do you want to know what's next? Do you want to know what's next, Alan?
Right. Let's start a better intro because you're cutting all that crap out there. So right. What?
I'm not.
Right. So let's get some professionalism in this damn podcast since we've had fucking Count Bishop and these
59 episodes in. It's better time for some, I suppose, isn't it?
So, you rank that as the 34th one, you say, very disappointingly on my behalf. So tell me...
Well, that's just where I'm putting it. You can argue your bit as well, can't you?
Well, I've realised now there's no point. So, where is we rank...
It's terrible.
What's the next show?
Ask Cameron. Cameron will tell you.
Cameron, what do you choose? Is it your pick?
It's my pick, apparently. So I picked.
Fantastic. So what are you picking?
Halloween Havoc 92.
No. It's the show that I suggested the other day, and you complained about the amount of matches on it.
I can't remember what that was, but Jesus Christ! Hang on, not WrestleMania 37 or something.
No.
Oh, hang on, a number of matches. Is it WF?
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
Is it WWE?
Oh no, it's WWE. Sorry.
Oh.
He's never happy, is he? I don't think you work with him.
That's not nostalgic. That's not nostalgic, is it?
Al, it took place 21 years ago.
The defence would like to point out to the jury that the event happened 21 years ago.
You're right. You're correct. Sorry. I misunderstood. When you said that, I thought we were going for a marathon. We're going for the opposite of a marathon. Right. That's okay.
Yeah.
Right.
It's the 2002 Survivor Series. It's the first Elimination Chamber match.
Have you stunned him into silence?
I was just about to say, I thought my Discord had frozen again, but no.
I knew what it was. I was waiting for Phil's response.
Yeah, I knew what it was yesterday. That's why.
Yeah, I told him yesterday.
Oh well, you told me before.
I remember that, didn't it?
What we're talking about again? Oh well, my only slight thing was the amount of matches on the card because it's a very condensed card.
I think that's fine.
And my favourite moment of God damn it, Jeff is cut from the net.
Oh, is it?
Yep.
Oh no.
At least it was. It's certainly cut from the DVD anyway. I assume it's cut from the network. And Scott Steiner's Give Me a Fucking Mic is also cut.
Oh, I forgot. I actually forgot it Scott Steiner's
bit, isn't it? Yeah, we've got that extra segment thrown in there, which I forgot. So yeah, we can go into that.
Yeah, it'll be good. It'll be interesting because I'd say Phil had done an October pay-per-view for Halloween Havoc, and we're recording next month in November. I thought it needs to be a Survivor Series. I thought interesting Survivor Series. Yeah, 2002 first Elimination Chamber match.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you what,
cool.
we'll just save the bother because we know it's going to get ranked.
It's the third best pay-per-view.
It'll be the 35th best because it can't be as good as Halloween Havoc. So,
for God's sake, You're a very bitter man, Alan. Sometimes a very bitter man.
I think there's a little bee in that bonnet, isn't there? Al?
There is. There's a whole fucking hive in there.
Yeah.
Look, I just, I don't know. I'll be enjoy tonight's show, lad.
Well, we'll find out. We'll find out in a month-ish time where that place is. But I suspect it'll be higher than Halloween Havoc.
It should be because I gotta say that first chamber was pretty. But the whole card's pretty decent. I don't think there's enough match on there off the top of my head.
We do have a match with Redacted in it, so that's going to be just one thing to navigate.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's the tag team match, isn't it? I did forget about that for a split second there. It's also a bit sad it doesn't really contain any Survivor Series matches. That was anyway. We'll probably should stop discussing this now because we've got a whole thing to discuss now. I'm just trying to set up one thing that I'm going to insist upon, and you are all going to go no. But anyway, let's have a look.
Are we? Well, we don't want to go to your basement now. That's pure and simple.
Right, we're cutting that bit. There's going to be anything left of this podcast.
Yeah, you saying cut that bit and me leaving it in.
As long as you cut the bit before it, then that's fine.
Oh, no, because it's funny just leaving you in. I mean, going, all right, I'll cut it, don't worry. And just leave it in for the entire show.
Just confirming to the GOC that Alan does not have a basement. I repeat, does not have a basement.
Can I just say, I was not expecting you to be that close to the mic then, and it absolutely terrified me for a second. Which makes complete sense because it's Halloween. So that's fine. But I really wasn't expecting that.
Right. Originally,
no basement at all.
Alan, no basement in Milburn.
Originally, I'm sorry.
Sorry, go on now.
Right, we're cutting that bit out, so I'll do a little thing. I can't wait to do Survivor Series 2002 next time. But I've got a little provision for you there. Now, there was a match originally on the card.
Oh, aye.
Right.
And it got bumped down to the pre-show.
Oh, we mentioned the dark match, I think. Was it actually shown on something then, was it?
It's on YouTube. I've just
William
done
Regal and Lance Storm.
Yep.
Versus, I've forgotten now, Hurricane.
Yeah.
And
Goldust. Yep, that's what you got. That's on the network. Not network. It's on YouTube, so we can watch it first because it was supposed to be part of the card. I'm sure we can all spare 3 minutes of our lives to watch it.
No, I can't.
Okay.
I refuse to.
Well, I'll do the match. So you.
I'll watch it.
Is this also though? This is the thing that kind of going. Little Timmy was sad because the new bike sheds that were going to be built on the school couldn't be built anymore, and he asked the teacher and said, "What's happened?" And he said, "Oh, Count Bischoff has decided to take all the steel work for the new bike sheds and create a demonic structure designed only for injury and maiming."
Oh, we've got to put that at the start of the next show. Cut it out of this one, and you've got to do that at the start of the next show.
I guarantee nothing. Cam's got to say that.
That's so perfect with Count Bischoff in his games again, isn't it? Yeah, that's perfect.
Count Bischoff.
We're just inventing this whole thing now that Eric Bischoff steals from small children.
Yeah, Count Bischoff. That's his title. Yeah, it's now. Yeah, you're right. He's got.
Just stealing things from children, left, right, and centre.
The Castlevania remake with Trevor Belmont just going at him. I need to kill Count Bischoff.
Little Timmy's like, oh, why did my parents have to be buried like in the ground with nothing around them? And just because Count Bischoff needed a coffin for the Undertaker's next burial match.
I think we need to do that at the start of the next one.
Count Bischoff just stealing things.
That'd be amazing.
Where's my Paragon, Mr. Bischoff? Oh, Coco needed one.
Oh, we could get a lot of mileage out of Little Timmy. All right.
Why am I just now imagining like Eric Bischoff being like Scrooge in the Christmas Carol?
They're stealing very specific things for wrestling gimmicks.
Yeah.
Just really specific things. Where's my giant LUGE on Argon? I don't understand it. Do you reckon like those letters are still in the big WWF warehouse?
No, it's just WWE things and WWF things in the warehouse, is it not? They don't keep all the stuff.
Do you reckon they collected all the WCW stuff and just burned it?
Probably, yeah. You know, Vince was probably just sat there kind of going,
just
touched by Jeff Jarrett.
He like heated his office for like 10 years, just burning all the WCW stuff.
Yeah. That's all it is.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Well, that's going to be an interesting show for us to watch next time.
Yeah, it's going to be good. It's setting up already.
With me, Cam, Al, and little Timmy taking in the show.
Yep. Poor little Timmy, yeah.
Stuck in the basement.
Never mind.
Not Al's basement, of course, because Al hasn't got a basement, just to clarify.
No, Al hasn't got... No.
Right,
Alan has no basement. There is no basement in Al's house.
What is it's his nickname? This is his nickname, isn't it? Al No Basements. That's his nickname.
Hot sauce.
Right, we'll cut that out as well.
Hot sauce, Geordie, Alan, No Basements, Milburn.
You know what? If I knew how to edit, I would insist on editing this one myself.
Al the Censor, Milburn.
I'll just put the... Just put the siren in now.